The story opens with the scene of the coastal city of Shanghai. In a room, Zhang Wanxin was breastfeeding her son, affectionately complaining about the sleepless nights. She looked at the baby with gentle eyes, thinking that all the hardship was worth it, as long as her child grew up healthy. The infant, Lin Zichen, was actually a reincarnated person, secretly contemplating his situation while absorbing energy. The baby lay in his crib, realizing he possessed a cheat system when a status panel appeared with his name and basic stats. 3 months later, his parents, Lin Yansheng and Zhang Wanxin, proudly watched their active son and dreamed of his great future. Lin Zichen was confused by the concepts of gene fusion users and cyborgs, only able to associate them with superheroes. When he was 4 months old, he began his plan. At night, Lin Zichen secretly practiced crawling to enhance his vitality and coordination without being discovered by his parents. By the 5th month, thanks to the use it or lose it principle, he had learned to walk and gained extra stat points. At 6 months old, Lin Zichen could naturally sit and watch television with his parents. A news report on TV unexpectedly revealed that gene fusion users and cyborgs were joining forces to fight against monsters. Lin Zichen realized that this world had mutated, filled with terrifying creatures that humans called monsters. To fight them, humanity had developed along 2 paths: body modification using mechanical technology, or gene fusion with monsters. Fortunately, with the system in hand, Lin Zichen was determined to develop steadily and secretly in order to survive. The infant wore a determined expression. One day, a new neighbor named Xu Meng came to greet them and give gifts. Xu Meng introduced her husband, Shen Jianye, and their daughter, Shen Qinghan. Lin Zichen knew that Shen Qinghan would become his first friend, and their destinies would be closely intertwined later on. At 7 months old, Lin Zichen continued training by practicing jumping, constantly improving his strength and skills. Lin Zichen continued physical training. Jogging helped him increase his vitality, coordination, and running speed. Even babbling while playing helped him increase his speech, language ability, and expression stats. By 8 months old, he was able to perform sit-ups, which helped increase his proficiency and core strength. However, during one training session, he was unexpectedly caught by his mother, Zhang Wanxin. Zhang Wanxin rubbed her eyes, unable to believe her son was doing sit-ups. She assumed it was a hallucination caused by too much writing, while Lin Zichen pretended to sleep to escape the situation. A few days later, while bathing her son, Zhang Wanxin frantically called her husband to see something astonishing. She pointed at her son's stomach and asked how an 8-month-old baby could have a six-pack. Lin Yansheng pondered deeply. Although he knew his son ate well, this physique was still too extraordinary. Suddenly, he had an idea and asked his wife if their son might be a rare prodigy. Lin Yansheng proudly declared that Chen Chen's future was limitless, potentially becoming a gene fusion user or a cyborg, making Lin Zichen secretly feel lucky to have novelist parents. While watching the news, Lin Zichen learned about another prodigy in Kyoto, who could lift a 20 kilograms weight with one hand, at just 2 years old. Zhang Wanxin hugged her son, and asserted that her Chen Chen was also amazing, and would not lose to any prodigy family. Lin Zichen secretly appreciated his mother, and wondered if he could achieve similar strength by the time he turned 2. Time passed. Lin Zichen turned 2, and could easily lift a 20 kilograms weight with one hand in the storage room. Just then, his mother called him out to play, because Shen Qinghan had arrived. Startling him, the boy put the weight away and reluctantly stepped out of the storage room. Upon opening the door, Lin Zichen looked at his friend in surprise. Shen Qinghan, also 2 years old, offered him a tart and spoke with a lisp, but he refused. Lin Zichen recalled that due to the difference in perception, he had taken advantage of the time Shen Qinghan slept on his back to turn her into a perfect weight training accessory. In the flashback, Lin Zichen complained to his mother that Shen Qinghan had wet his back again while he was training. Time passed, and by the age of 3, he could lift a 40 kilograms box with just one hand. When watching the news about a 4.5-year-old prodigy lifting 30 kilograms, Lin Zichen was confident that he had far surpassed his rival. The system panel showed that he was still at general biological level 1, making him curious about the strength limits of level 2. Going out for the first time, Lin Zichen was astonished by a world full of gene fusion users and robots walking the streets. He decided to go to the library to find answers, accompanied by his mother, Shen Qinghan, and her mother. Inside the library, Lin Zichen ran straight to the adult book section, ignoring the calls of his mother and Shen Qinghan. He refused Shen Qinghan's cookie to focus on reading, surprising the two mothers with his eagerness to learn. Through the books, Lin Zichen began to learn about the world, discovering 6 biological levels from general to mythical. He learned that each level was divided into 9 stages, and ordinary humans were limited to stage 1. The system immediately assigned him a new mission, reading 100 million words, making him excited because he could train both his mind and body. By the age of 4, Lin Zichen was still diligently training and reading simultaneously. The mission progress had reached nearly 44 million words. He started kindergarten, being led into the classroom by Miss Strawberry, along with Shen Qinghan. Not long after, he advanced to General Biological Level 2, able to lift 80 kilograms and possessing physical stats comparable to an adult. In class, Shen Qinghan was surrounded by a group of classmates mocking her as a bedwetter, which angered Lin Zichen. He decided he couldn't stand by, and immediately jumped over the desk to intervene. Lin Zichen rushed forward at blinding speed, creating a blur as he swept past the bullying children. The faces of the bullies contorted in horror at his strength. All the children in the bullying group burst into tears out of fear, while Shen Qinghan looked up in surprise. The system announced that Lin Zichen had unlocked the title Kindergarten Boss, and he realized that missions could be performed simultaneously. Half a year later, Lin Zichen completed the reading task, received heavenly insight, and brought his learning ability to its peak. As time passed, he and his friends graduated from kindergarten at the age of 7. During the break, before elementary school, Lin Zichen continued his rigorous training, managing to lift 200 kilograms. He also easily surpassed the 2-meter high jump mark. His 100-meter dash time finally dropped below 8 seconds. Thanks to heavenly insight, Lin Zichen had self-studied most of the elementary school curriculum, and set a goal to unlock the title of Elementary School Overlord. His elementary school life began at Sunshine Elementary School in Shanghai City. He easily won competitions, and Zhang Wanxin proudly cheered for her son during a math competition. At school, Lin Zichen spent his free time tutoring Shen Qinghan. Thanks to her diligence and his help, Shen Qinghan rose to second place in the class, right behind Lin Zichen. To quickly unlock the title, he participated in every sports event and broke all the records. Just when it seemed his elementary school life would pass peacefully, a new student transferred into his class. The teacher introduced the new student named Bai Xue, but Lin Zichen sensed something non-human about her. Bai Xue quietly walked between the rows of desks under the scrutiny of the entire class. Shen Qinghan marveled at Bai Xue's beautiful hair, but Lin Zichen paid no attention, preoccupied with thoughts about the new friend's abnormality. Bai Xue sat down at the empty desk right next to Lin Zichen. Lin Zichen secretly analyzed her, wondering if Bai Xue was a gene fusion user or their descendant. For the following days, Bai Xue didn't speak to anyone, and just slumped on her desk, causing everyone's initial curiosity to gradually fade. Once everyone got used to her silence, the classroom returned to its usual quiet state. More than a month later, that quiet was broken when Bai Xue's body began secreting a strange white liquid. A foul-smelling white liquid began dripping down from Bai Xue's legs. Other classmates noticed the stench, and a boy named Guan Chun mocked her, saying she looked filthy. Guan Chun approached, poured water over Bai Xue's head, and pretended he was helping her wash up. Humiliated, Bai Xue clenched her fists on the soaking wet desk. She bit her lip, trying to hold back the tears that were about to spill. Finally, Bai Xue couldn't take it anymore, and burst into sobs at her seat. While the bullies laughed gleefully, Shen Qinghan felt sympathy for Bai Xue, and urged Lin Zichen to help her. Lin Zichen decided that Bai Xue was just a weak girl, being bullied, and stood up to intervene. He grabbed the collar of a stunned Guan Chun, and called him out by name. With a terrifying smile, Lin Zichen ordered Guan Chun to wipe Bai Xue's desk clean. A terrified Guan Chun immediately agreed, and hastily pulled out tissues. He knew Lin Zichen's reputation at school well, and dared not resist. Lin Zichen then demanded that everyone who had bullied Bai Xue step forward and apologize to her immediately. The entire group of bullies fearfully shouted their agreement in unison. They lined up in front of Bai Xue, bowed their heads, and apologized one by one. Bai Xue looked up, tears welling up, and thanked Lin Zichen and Shen Qinghan. Shen Qinghan comforted Bai Xue, saying that helping a classmate was only natural. From that day on, Shen Qinghan actively befriended Bai Xue, and brought Lin Zichen along, often sharing food with her. One day, Bai Xue hesitantly started a question. She anxiously asked if Lin Zichen and Shen Qinghan hated her because her body smelled so bad. Bai Xue confessed that she had always been shunned by everyone, so having friends for the first time felt unreal. She looked up as someone affirmed that this was not a dream. Shen Qinghan empathized, saying that she had also gone through something similar, and would never despise her. Standing next to Lin Zichen, Shen Qinghan held out her hand, and promised that they would be friends forever. Immediately afterward, Shen Qinghan hugged a stunned Bai Xue. Bai Xue burst into happy sobs, profusely thanking both of her new friends. She suddenly remembered something. Bai Xue said that since they had been kind to her, she wanted to give them a gift too. She offered a pair of beast fangs, a birthday gift from her mother, and hoped they would remain best friends forever. The gift was accepted along with a firm promise of their friendship. Under the schoolyard sun, the three happily affirmed their eternal friendship. Sometime later, Shen Qinghan was shocked to hear that Bai Xue had transferred schools. Lin Zichen confirmed that he had personally seen her completing the withdrawal procedures. In a flashback, Lin Zichen secretly saw Bai Xue leaving with a cyborg bodyguard and a refined man, who emphasized that her file was top secret. Lin Zichen realized that Bai Xue's identity was truly not simple. He recounted that they never saw her again after that day. Lin Zichen thought that compared to Bai Xue's departure, what happened next captured his attention even more. At home, Zhang Wangxin happily praised her son's massage skills after a long day of writing. On TV, a breaking news report announced the new achievement of the Kyoto prodigy. The report revealed that the 10-year-old prodigy had successfully fused with a beast gene, lifting a 1,000-kilogram boulder with one hand. Lin Yansheng walked into the living room, grumbling about the Kyoto prodigy being on TV again, suspecting they were turning the boy into a celebrity for marketing purposes. He explained that the prodigy came from a 1,000-year-old martial arts clan, likely possessing advanced gene fusion techniques. But Zhang Wanxin still worried about using one's own child as a test subject. Lin Zichen secretly compared their strengths. After gene fusion, the prodigy could lift 500 kilograms, a 5-fold increase, while he, at 8 years old, could already lift 300 kilograms without fusion. He confidently clenched his fist, concluding that his potential was still far greater. His confidence vanished when the next news report announced a devastating monster attack in a neighboring country. Footage from witnesses showed the perpetrators were a horde of giant mutant rats ravaging the city. A woman was trapped in the jaws of one of the monsters, desperately crying for help. The beast's sharp teeth clamped shut in a pool of blood. At a press conference, an official confirmed that a heretical cult was behind the attack and called on nations to cooperate to destroy them. Lin Zichen felt fortunate to have been born in a powerful and stable country, allowing him to continue developing safely. Suddenly, his eyes widened in astonishment at an unexpected sound. He realized it was a supersonic boom from outside the window, startling the whole family. Lin Zichen rushed to the window and pulled back the curtains. He was astonished to see a squadron of government cyborgs soaring through the night sky, wondering if something bad had happened. The next morning, the scene shifted to the school gate. Shen Qinghan ran up to where Lin Zichen was waiting and urged him to hurry, or they would be late for school. Lin Zichen suddenly stopped, his gaze fixed on something unusual. He pointed out that the beast fang necklace around Shen Qinghan's neck was glowing, which surprised her too. Lin Zichen realized it might be the fang of a real mutant beast, and this was the source of the inhuman aura he had sensed from Bai Xue. The light only flashed for a moment, but between the appearance of the cyborgs last night and the strange fang, Lin Zichen had a bad feeling that something was about to happen. On their way to school, Lin Zichen and Shen Qinghan were stopped by a strange red-haired woman. The woman exclaimed that they were a cute pair of children. She approached them and asked if they were siblings. Shen Qinghan happily replied that they had been close friends since childhood. The woman smiled, saying she was very jealous and wished she had a friend like that too. She continued to ask why they were walking to school alone and where their parents were. Just as Shen Qinghan was about to answer, Lin Zichen grabbed her hand, telling her they had talked enough. He pulled Shen Qinghan away, saying they would be late for school, leaving the woman behind. In the schoolyard, Lin Zichen instructed Shen Qinghan not to casually answer strangers from now on. After school, as the two walked through a deserted alley, Shen Qinghan said the place was quiet and scary. Lin Zichen explained that the area was scheduled for demolition, so all the residents had moved out. Suddenly, the red-haired woman from the morning appeared and said over the phone that she had found the two children. Lin Zichen was stunned, realizing that even though they had deliberately taken a different route, they were still being followed. The woman tried to lure the two children, but a muscular man appeared and told her to stop talking nonsense. The man ordered her to knock them out and drag them away immediately. He lunged toward the two children with a cloth in his hand, yelling that he was in a hurry to sell them for money. Lin Zichen immediately stood in front of Shen Qinghan, raising his hand in defense. The boy threw a punch straight at the attacker. Lin Zichen's fist slammed directly into the man's jaw, shattering his teeth. The muscular man was sent flying backward, while the red-haired woman watched in astonishment. The red-haired woman fearfully wondered how an elementary school student could punch an adult away. Without giving her time to recover, Lin Zichen rushed forward and delivered a punch to her stomach. The powerful blow caused the woman to collapse instantly. In Lin Zichen's hand was a hard object wrapped in a paper bag. He realized there were no surveillance cameras, and to keep his secret, he was forced to consider eliminating the kidnappers. Suddenly, the ground shook violently like an earthquake, startling both children. A hand with gigantic sharp claws smashed the nearby brick wall. From the rubble, a giant mutant rat emerged, leaving Lin Zichen stunned. The monster opened its mouth full of sharp teeth and clamped down on the unconscious red-haired woman. It ruthlessly swallowed the victim whole. When the monster turned toward them, Shen Qinghan screamed in terror, and Lin Zichen realized the situation was extremely dire. He quickly scooped up Shen Qinghan and confirmed it was a giant mutant rat. Lin Zichen said they needed to get to safety quickly, and started running. Unexpectedly, a figure in red armor streaked through the air. Lin Zichen was astonished to realize it was a cyborg rushing to engage the monster. At blinding speed, the cyborg landed directly on the monster's back. She announced the start of energy charging, and a sphere of light formed on her gauntlet. The cyborg aimed and shouted, "Anesthetic smoke." A barrage of projectiles shot out from her gauntlet, flying straight toward the monster. The projectiles exploded violently, and Lin Zichen quickly shielded Shen Qinghan from the shockwave. The rat monster roared in pain amidst the explosion. After the daze, it drooled and stood up, its eyes glittering. The blonde female cyborg rushed forward, enveloped in red energy, attacking the monster. At home, Lin Zichen watched the battle on TV and analyzed that the female cyborg's rank wasn't high since it took her more than 7 minutes to finish it. He pondered the danger of the giant mutant rat species. Some adults could reach level 5. Recalling the danger he had just escaped, Lin Zichen resolved to train harder and began heavy weightlifting, receiving stat points from the system. Time passed, and Lin Zichen and Shen Qinghan celebrated their 9th birthday together with their families. After making their wishes, they exchanged birthday gifts, and Lin Zichen gently patted her head. Shen Qinghan happily showed off the wooden hairpin he had personally made, saying she loved it very much. Soon, both graduated from elementary school, and Lin Zichen was excited about unlocking the middle school overlord title to gain the Law of the Jungle attribute. During the holiday, he trained intensely, performing 1,000 weighted push-ups to enhance his strength. Just before the school year began, his biological level broke through to General Tier 3, granting him the strength to lift 700 kilograms and run 100 meters in 6 seconds. The night before enrollment, Lin Zichen watched the news and wondered how strong the Kyoto prodigy was now. The news report showed the 14-year-old Kyoto prodigy, after ant gene fusion, lifting a 2,000 kilograms alloy block. But Lin Zichen calculated that his base strength was still higher. He smiled expectantly, eager for the prospect of undergoing gene fusion himself someday. Lin Zichen's middle school life officially began. He and Shen Qinghan went to Shanghai Middle School together. He had accepted the school's invitation on the condition that they both be placed in the same class. The principal and teachers personally welcomed Lin Zichen, but he quickly found an excuse to leave. The reason was that he and Shen Qinghan had planned to play badminton on the school's sports court. Shen Qinghan held the racket and shuttlecock, happily calling for Lin Zichen to start the match. Shen Qinghan launched a skillful badminton shot. Suddenly, a hand blocked the flying shuttlecock. An upperclassman wearing a backward baseball cap appeared, declaring that the court belonged to the seniors. His two friends chimed in with teasing remarks, but Shen Qinghan firmly retorted that they had arrived first. Lin Zichen stepped forward, coldly reminding the seniors about the first-come, first-served rule. The leader arrogantly declared that he would take the court regardless of the rules. Lin Zichen picked up the shuttlecock and told the group to listen. He tossed the shuttlecock into the air, announcing that from now on, his rules would be the law here, then delivered a devastating smash. The shuttlecock flew at terrifying speed, leaving a brilliant streak of light. The senior's racket shattered when he tried to block the shot. All three were terrified, wondering if Lin Zichen was a gene fusion user, and fearing his strength. The group of seniors immediately bowed an apology, accepted Lin Zichen's rules, and hastily left. Lin Zichen recounted that after that incident, no one dared to bully them, and middle school life was not much different from elementary school. Since he had finished all the curriculum, he often read extracurricular books during class. In the evenings, he went online to learn many new skills, such as cooking, swimming, and survival. To unlock the new title, he not only topped every subject but also represented the school in national competitions, winning countless awards. After one semester, the title still hadn't unlocked. Instead, he received 2 towering stacks of love letters from female admirers. Ignoring them, Lin Zichen focused only on tutoring Shen Qinghan and preparing for the school's upcoming sports meet. Lin Zichen was determined to dominate the sports meet to unlock the middle school overlord title, starting with the shot put event, where he achieved a distance of 20.12 meters. He participated in 3 events representing strength, vertical, leap, and speed. With superior speed, he easily conquered the track, aiming for complete dominance in athletics. Although he held back to avoid drawing attention, Lin Zichen still easily won the gold medal, and sat next to Shen Qinghan. Immediately afterward, he suddenly felt a surge of power awakening within him. The system announced that he had unlocked the middle school overlord title and a new biological attribute, Law of the Jungle. The new ability allowed him to absorb life essence to evolve, making him wonder about the meaning of life essence while walking with Shen Qinghan. Pulled back to reality by Shen Qinghan's call, an idea suddenly struck Lin Zichen. He asked to borrow the beast fang that Shen Qinghan always wore around her neck. Shen Qinghan did not hesitate to give him the pendant. Upon touching it, Lin Zichen immediately sensed an unusual energy source from the object. The new ability activated, revealing the fang was actually the tooth of an abyssal butterfly, and beginning the process of collecting its life essence. That evening, Lin Zichen tried to search for information about the abyssal butterfly online. However, the search results were completely empty, yielding no data whatsoever. Deciding to investigate himself, he rummaged through his school bag. He found another beast tooth, remembering that Bai Shui had given him two. Absorbing the essence from the second tooth, his collection progress increased to 2%. Lin Zichen realized that the remaining essence in these teeth was too little, and he needed another method to complete the collection. The next day, he began a harsher training regimen, cycling Shen Qinghan to school every day. He did this so he could quickly take Shen Qinghan to safety if they encountered monsters again. As Lin Zichen was cycling with Shen Qinghan, a muscular man stopped them and introduced himself as Teacher Guo from the school's martial arts team. Teacher Guo enthusiastically invited Lin Zichen to join the team, praising his outstanding performance at the sports meet. He stressed that Lin Zichen's athletic talent surpassed even his academic abilities, and pleaded with him to accept the invitation. Before Lin Zichen could refuse, Teacher Guo told him to come to Training Room C tomorrow, and then left. That night, after returning home, Lin Zichen pondered his abilities. He swatted a mosquito dead on his hand. He realized that killing small creatures like cockroaches or mosquitoes did not activate the Law of the Jungle skill, concluding that only powerful beasts possessed enough essence for absorption. He grabbed his phone, determined to test his hypothesis. He got on his bicycle. He decided to head straight to the beast meat supermarket, taking Shen Qinghan along. Soon, the two arrived at a market in the city center. Inside, Lin Zichen was disappointed to find that all the beast meat was pre-packaged, preventing him from making direct contact to test his ability. Suddenly, he heard someone hawking freshly cut beast meat. He spotted a stall where a butcher was processing fresh, raw beast meat. Lin Zichen turned to the bewildered Shen Qinghan and told her to wait a moment. He was going to touch the meat. Without further explanation, he rushed toward the meat stall. He approached the pile of fresh meat and placed his hand on a piece. Immediately, a stream of purple energy enveloped his hand as he sensed the intense life essence within the beast meat. Lin Zichen picked up a piece of meat, his expression utterly thrilled, while Shen Qinghan watched from behind, worried and confused about what was happening. Shen Qinghan, confused, asked him how it felt, wondering if it was different from normal meat. Lin Zichen invited Shen Qinghan to touch the beast meat, but she frantically refused. He then suggested buying some to cook and try, which utterly astonished Shen Qinghan. Lin Zichen thought to himself that the beast meat was unbelievably expensive, with ghost squid meat costing 998 and another type going up to 2,000 per kilogram. Nevertheless, he decisively chose to buy the cheapest ghost squid variety. Shen Qinghan anxiously tried to dissuade him, arguing that the meat was too expensive, and they should ask Zichen's mother first. To reassure her, Lin Zichen gently patted her head, causing Shen Qinghan to blush. He lied, saying his mother had already instructed him to buy some. Lin Zichen imagined his mother, Zhang Wanxin, happily telling him to buy meat for both families to throw a party. While paying 2,994 for 3 kilograms of meat, he thought about his true purpose, checking whether absorbing the essence would spoil the meat. After being thanked by the cashier, Lin Zichen left, secretly lamenting how expensive the price was. It was already dark, and the two hurried home on the bike, concerned for their safety. Unable to wait any longer, Lin Zichen decided to test his ability right on the way home. The moment he touched the piece of ghost squid meat, a stream of purple energy immediately radiated out. The system announced that he had absorbed a trace of ghost squid life essence, and his body was enveloped in a purple electric current. The ghost squid bestiary was unlocked with 0.1% progress, accompanied by an image of the giant monster. Returning to reality, Lin Zichen continued cycling, carrying the drowsy Shen Qinghan behind him. He calculated that to complete 100% of the bestiary, he would need 100 kilograms of meat, equivalent to 100,000. Despite the huge cost, he believed that possessing the ghost squid's ability to dissolve in water and disappear was entirely worth it. Lin Zichen was determined to find a way to earn this massive sum of money himself. He suddenly remembered the secondary purpose of buying the meat, to check if it spoiled after absorbing the essence. Lin Zichen thought to himself that it was time to check the results of the absorption. He was delighted to see that absorbing the life essence did not spoil the meat, with the ghost squid progress bar reaching 3%. Lost in thought, Shen Qinghan suddenly shouted a warning to be careful of someone ahead, forcing him to slam on the brakes. Due to his distraction, Lin Zichen crashed into a passing couple and quickly apologized. He blamed himself for focusing too much on the absorption and forgetting to watch the road, when Shen Qinghan suddenly pointed ahead. Before them was a horrifying sight. A muscular man was holding a knife to teacher Cao Mei's throat, shouting threats that he would kill her if anyone approached. The police force had surrounded the scene, demanding the kidnapper remain calm and drop his weapon. The police captain ordered his subordinate, Ah Bing, not to act rashly, while Ah Bing suggested using sleeping gas. However, the captain rejected the idea, worried that an obvious action might provoke the suspect into doing something reckless. Seeing the stalemate, Lin Zichen quietly bent down and picked up a small stone from the sidewalk. The stone was thrown at terrifying speed, knocking the gun out of a police officer's hand. After ricocheting, the stone hit the kidnapper's arm, causing him to drop the knife in pain and allowing the hostage to escape. Seizing the golden opportunity, the captain shouted and led his team forward. The kidnapper was quickly subdued, while a female officer rushed to comfort teacher Cao Mei, who was still in shock. Shen Qinghan suspiciously asked if Lin Zichen had thrown the stone, but he signaled her to be quiet and quickly rode away. Just then, the captain called out, asking directly if the student was the one who threw the stone. Lin Zichen flinched, quickly waving his hands to deny it while sweating profusely. The captain watched the two children disappear, wondering why someone would do a good deed and not want recognition. He picked up the stone, thinking to himself that such a brave act would surely come with a reward. Hearing the words reward money from afar, Lin Zichen's eyes suddenly lit up with surprise and excitement. Lin Zichen quickly rushed toward the police officer to claim credit. He confessed that he threw the rock because he desperately needed the reward money, and the captain invited him to the station to file a report. As the kidnapper was being escorted away, Lin Zichen thought about his first income as a brave citizen. But suddenly, something unusual happened to the criminal. He roared, and his body began to transform into a giant mutant rat monster, throwing the surrounding police officers away. The monster violently swung its tail, plunging the police force into chaos. The police captain immediately ordered all units to open fire on the monster, but prioritized protecting civilians. The police force unleashed a barrage of bullets, but it was ineffective. They reported that the heretic had merged with the Rat King gene and required urgent backup. Witnessing the terrifying scene, Cao Mei and Shen Qinghan were so frightened they could barely breathe. Lin Zichen immediately grabbed both of them and shouted that escaping was the most important thing right now. He pulled them away, secretly relieved that the monster wasn't chasing them. Suddenly, a figure enveloped in purple energy swooped down from the night sky, astonishing all three of them. It was a female cyborg. She charged straight at the rat monster. The female cyborg delivered an extremely powerful kick, sending the giant monster flying. She landed on the ground and began accumulating energy for a laser cannon. A massive energy beam was fired, aimed directly at the monster. The monster was engulfed by the beam and completely disintegrated. Lin Zichen stood frozen, completely overwhelmed by the terrifying power he had just witnessed. While Cao Mei and Shen Qinghan sighed in relief, Lin Zichen secretly felt lucky that his bicycle hadn't been damaged. Then suddenly, he froze as if he had just realized something. Lin Zichen was shocked to realize that the monster meat in his bike basket was ruined. He deduced that the absorption of life essence had spoiled the meat, and decided to blame the heretic. Lin Zichen loudly complained that the cyborg's attack had roasted the meat, while Cao Mei comforted him, saying that everyone being safe was what mattered. At the captain's request, the group got into the police car to return to the station to give statements. Inside the car, they had to sit next to the charred corpse of the heretic, which emitted a pungent, burnt smell. Lin Zichen suddenly had an idea. Could he absorb the Rat King gene from this corpse? Deciding to try immediately, he secretly activated his ability on the corpse. A stream of blazing red energy flowed from his hand. Lin Zichen felt a source of life essence being absorbed. The system announced that he had absorbed a portion of the giant mutant rat's essence, reaching 5% progress, astonishing him because the freshness of the corpse increased the effectiveness. Reminded by the police officer about his movement, Lin Zichen quickly pretended that he was just stretching because he had been sitting for too long. At the police station, the captain questioned how a middle school student like him could throw a rock so accurately at the heretic's hand. Lin Zichen vaguely replied that it was probably because he frequently trained his right arm. The implied answer left the police captain speechless, unsure what else to say. Unexpectedly, Lin Zichen's parents, along with Shen Qinghan's mother, arrived to pick them up, making him surprised and ask why they came. Zhang Wangxin rushed over in panic, calling her son's name in extreme worry. She hugged Lin Zichen tightly, saying she had been scared to death, while he tried to reassure his mother that he was fine and had even received a bravery reward. Zhang Wanxin made her son promise that the next time he faced danger, he must find a safe place to hide first. Lin Zichen was stunned when he heard his mother say that she only wanted to see him grow up, safe and sound. He promised his mother he would always protect himself first, then left the police station with her under the captain's thoughtful gaze. As he walked past, Lin Zichen overheard two female police officers discussing an organization called the Rat God Cult, which was becoming increasingly rampant. Lin Zichen was shocked to overhear the female police officers saying they had to eliminate someone who called himself the Rat King. On the way home, he immediately used his phone to search for information, and was surprised to find a lot of data about the Rat God Cult online. He read that the cult's main base was located right in the city, and most members were social outcasts. Lin Zichen was astonished by the information he had just found. He discovered that the Rat King wanted to evolve into a higher life form by gathering followers to collect evolutionary materials. A question arose in his mind. Had the Rat King developed intelligence? Suddenly, Lin Zichen saw an unusually large rat by the roadside, and wondered if it was related to the Rat King. He quickly dismissed the thought, figuring that in the south, rats the size of cats were not uncommon. It was then that he realized Shen Qinghan had been silent the entire way. Seeing her trembling legs, Lin Zichen suspected that the old problem was recurring. He recalled that whenever Shen Qinghan was anxious or startled, she couldn't hold it in, just like when she was little. As the car sped through the night, he pondered that her condition might be related to some kind of mysterious potential. Arriving home, Zhang Wanxin screamed in horror when she discovered the monster meat was gone. Lin Zichen scratched his head, making the excuse that he had accidentally dropped the meat during the emergency. Zhang Wanxin immediately calmed down, saying that as long as her son was safe, the meat didn't matter. Lin Zichen sighed in relief, having successfully deceived his mother. Immediately afterward, he quickly stopped his father, lying that even if the meat were found, it would already be spoiled. Meanwhile, at the police station, the captain was still brooding over how a middle school student could throw a rock with such power. His gaze became sharp, full of suspicion. Suddenly, a giant rat appeared on top of the filing cabinet, stunning the captain, who wondered where it had come from. The giant rat slammed down onto the office floor. The police captain immediately drew his gun and fired repeatedly at the monster, but it seemed unstoppable. Meanwhile, at school, Lin Zichen sat in class and sighed dejectedly. He told himself that he was still too weak compared to the rat man and the female cyborg from last night, and earning money from scholarships was too slow to fill the Ghost Squid's progress bar. He dismissed the idea of becoming an influential figure among students or selling study materials, deeming it too ostentatious. Suddenly, Lin Zichen realized he had been thinking in the wrong direction. He remembered that in this world, martial arts tournaments were far more valuable than academics, and decided it was time to take action. At the Building C gymnasium, the school's martial arts team was gathering. Coach Guo, who led the team, was drinking water from a thermos. Lin Zichen approached and greeted Coach Guo. The coach recognized the outstanding student and asked if he was here to join or just to inquire. Lin Zichen whispered, asking about the opportunities to compete and the prize money for city-level martial arts tournaments. Coach Guo confidently replied that the prizes were very high, potentially reaching tens of thousands. Hearing this, Lin Zichen immediately decided to join the team and was cheerfully welcomed by the coach. Coach Guo gathered the entire team, announced the new member, and introduced Lin Zichen as the national math champion. The team members introduced themselves one by one, including Zhang Kai, Huang Tianxing, Li Shutong, and Han Yishuo. Since Lin Zichen was new, Coach Guo started by demonstrating basic punching and kicking techniques. He explained that even Li Shutong, the fastest learner on the team, took a week to master them, then told Lin Zichen to try. Lin Zichen immediately took a stance, perfectly mimicking the coach's posture. With his heaven-sent martial insight ability, every detail of the coach's movements was analyzed and copied in his mind. The system announced that Lin Zichen had completely mastered Xing Yi Quan and received the title of Martial Arts Master. Coach Guo gaped, unable to believe his eyes. He and the entire martial arts team were stunned, wondering how Lin Zichen could learn it after just one look. Coach Guo concluded that he was definitely a once-in-a-million martial arts prodigy. The scene shifted back to a quiet city at night. At home, Zhang Wanxin called her son out to prepare for dinner. Lin Zichen happily ran out, eagerly asking about tonight's menu. His mother proudly introduced the shadow ghost squid dish that he had longed for. Lin Zichen inhaled the wonderful aroma of the dish, while his mother urged him to eat it while it was hot. He tasted a bite with a look of satisfaction. Zhang Wanxin curiously asked if the dish suited his taste. Lin Zichen praised his mother's cooking skills profusely, and was encouraged to eat plenty. A system notification appeared, stating that he had absorbed the essence of the shadow ghost squid, making him realize that eating it directly also worked. While watching TV, a news report about a 14-year-old female genius, a cyborg, shocked the entire country. The cyborg girl on TV displayed extraordinary strength, capable of lifting 2,000 kilograms and running 100 meters in 3 seconds. Lin Zichen pondered whether gene fusers or cyborgs would be stronger. The news suddenly switched to a tragedy. Security Captain He Xuanshan had been devoured by a giant mutant rat. Lin Zichen was horrified, realizing that monster might be one of the ones from the previous incident. He was determined to intensify his training, and quickly achieved a 100-meter dash time of 4.61 seconds. His strength skyrocketed, with a high jump of 5.1 meters, and the ability to lift 1,200 kilograms with one hand. Lin Zichen did not neglect his martial arts training, hoping to quickly boost his strength for the upcoming tournament. The next morning, he returned to school. He went to the gym to continue training, and his friend Hanlin curiously followed him. On the way, a cheerful pink-haired female student stopped them and asked Lin Zichen if he had eaten breakfast. The girl offered a bottle of fresh milk as a gift. Lin Zichen politely declined, though he still thanked her for her kindness. Witnessing this, a senior male student was enraged that the person who stole his championship now refused a gift from his goddess. He immediately rushed out and blocked Lin Zichen's path. The senior questioned Lin Zichen for hurting the girl, but Lin Zichen replied that he was allergic to milk, which the senior didn't believe. The senior immediately challenged Lin Zichen to a match, stating that if Lin Zichen lost, he would have to drink the entire bottle of milk. A new achievement quest was unexpectedly activated in Lin Zichen's system, the reward being the biological trait, survival of the fittest. Lin Zichen radiated fighting spirit, ready to accept the challenge. News of the match quickly spread, and the pink-haired student and her friend excitedly invited each other to watch. Soon, a crowd of students gathered in the gym to watch the confrontation. The pink-haired student's purple-haired friend enthusiastically cheered, hoping Lin Zichen would teach the senior a lesson. The pink-haired student also raised her phone, wishing Lin Zichen good luck and promising to take many beautiful photos. The senior frowned when he saw everyone was cheering for his opponent. He secretly thought this was his last chance to assert dominance and extinguish Lin Zichen's talent before he became too strong. Standing before his opponent and Coach Guo, Lin Zichen calmly asked if they could finish quickly so he could go home for dinner. The senior smirked smugly, replying that he would grant his wish. Coach Guo declared the match started, emphasizing the spirit of friendship. The senior suddenly demanded they stop. He smugly stated that he had been training for nearly 2 years and would give Lin Zichen 3 moves. Lin Zichen simply replied, "All right," then charged forward at terrifying speed, giving his opponent no time to react. He unleashed a powerful straight punch. His fist slammed directly into the opponent's face, sending blood splattering. The senior collapsed onto the floor, knocked unconscious after just one blow. Coach Guo gaped in astonishment, unable to believe it was a knockout punch. The crowd of students was also stunned, shocked by how quickly the match ended. Hanlin cheered excitedly, joyfully shouting that Zichen had won. The other female students also jumped up and cheered, praising Lin Zichen as amazing. A system notification appeared, confirming Lin Zichen had defeated an opponent, and he thought he needed to eliminate 999 more people. He turned to the other seniors with a radiant smile, suggesting they all fight him. The entire group of male students turned pale with fear at the challenge. They quickly made up every excuse, from needing to attend tutoring, going home to eat, to having a stomachache. In order to flee the training room, the recently defeated senior scrambled back up, unconvinced, shouting that Lin Zichen had sucker-punched him. Coach Guo told his student, Zhang Kai, to accept the defeat, but secretly thought he would have someone else test him. He called a muscular student named Xiao Lizi onto the mat, much to the chosen student's panic. Xiao Lizi shakily took his stance, verbally asking for forgiveness and secretly praying not to be hit in the face. 10 minutes later, the seniors on the martial arts team were sprawled across the floor after their practice matches with Lin Zichen. Lin Zichen realized that only the victory against Zhang Kai was recorded by the system, while the other practice matches were not, leading him to conclude that he had to genuinely defeat his opponents. Coach Guo joyfully grabbed Lin Zichen, praising him as a genius and the team's new ace after only a month of joining. He confidently declared that with Lin Zichen, Shanghai High School would definitely win the Regional Martial Arts Tournament Championship this year. Lin Zichen suddenly had an idea, realizing the tournament was the perfect opportunity to defeat a large number of opponents simultaneously. He believed that simply winning an official competition would ensure his achievement progress was recorded. Suddenly, Zhang Kai called Lin Zichen's name. He loudly declared that he accepted his defeat and would not utter a single word, even if Lin Zichen humiliated him. Zhang Kai's crude declaration left everyone present, including Lin Zichen and Coach Guo, utterly stunned and horrified. Before Zhang Kai could finish his sentence, Coach Guo led the entire group in a panicked retreat away from him. In a flashback, Lin Zichen recounted that Shen Qinghan had trained with him so she could enter the martial arts class. After running 3,000 meters, they would both spend an hour practicing hand-to-hand combat techniques. Next, they performed sit-ups and push-ups to enhance their physical strength and endurance. After every training session, Lin Zichen would also help Shen Qinghan stretch by giving her a massage. Lin Zichen himself did not slack off. He trained with all his might to prepare for the tournament and unlock new attributes. 1 month later, the day of the tournament finally arrived, and Lin Zichen walked confidently with his sports bag slung over his shoulder. The venue was the city arena, a magnificent stadium with a fighting ring at the center and thousands of spectators. In the contestant waiting area, Coach Guo nervously announced that they had drawn an unlucky lot, placing them in the same bracket as the strongest team, Shanghai No. 1 High School. Meanwhile, a group of students from the opposing school were discussing with glum expressions the fact that Shanghai No. 1 had someone who could run 100 meters in under 9 seconds. Lin Zichen raised his hand, volunteering to the coach that he wanted to compete first. Coach Guo agreed, calling Lin Zichen onto the mat, much to the astonishment of his teammates. From the stands, Hanlin and teacher Guo enthusiastically cheered for Lin Zichen as he warmed up. He stomped his foot hard onto the fighting ring, and the ground cracked slightly under his power. Lin Zichen's opponent, a tall, muscular student, recognized him as a freshman and complimented his talent. However, the giant mocked that this fighting ring was not meant for a freshman kid who wasn't even 1.7 meters tall. He flexed his muscles, declaring he would show Lin Zichen the true disparity in size and strength. The referee signaled, and the match officially began. The large opponent immediately charged forward with a powerful punch. He was stunned when Lin Zichen easily dodged his lightning-fast attack. Immediately afterward, Lin Zichen delivered a punch to the opponent's torso. The force from that single punch sent the giant flying far across the ring. The referee stammered, declaring Lin Zichen the winner in disbelief. Hanlin cheered excitedly at his incredible performance. The entire Shanghai High School martial arts team erupted in joy, concluding that the opponent was all bulk and lacked agility. On the other side, the opposing team's coach was angrily scolding his student for not using footwork and only charging straight in to attack. Lin Zichen looked satisfied at the system panel, which announced he had defeated an opponent and that his achievement progress bar had increased. The opposing coach turned to the next fighter, ordering Chen Feng to crush the freshman kid as quickly as possible. Chen Feng stepped onto the ring, taking his stance ready for the next match. The referee shouted loudly, signaling the start of the match. Immediately, Chen Feng lunged forward, attacking Lin Zichen in a flash. Lin Zichen easily dodged the blow and countered with a powerful kick to the opponent's flank. The force of the kick was so great that Chen Feng was thrown into the air, spinning uncontrollably. He fell hard onto the mat, losing consciousness and being completely knocked out. The medical team rushed Chen Feng onto a stretcher, hurrying him to the hospital for a head examination. The audience buzzed with discussion, suggesting Lin Zichen had only gotten lucky, and even suspecting the match was fixed. However, the opposing team's coach clutched his head in horror, realizing that this freshman possessed formidable strength. He called out the next fighter, Gao Fei, instructing him to focus on defense and forbidding him from losing. Gao Fei confidently stood up, reassuring the coach that he would definitely win. On the stage, Gao Fei secretly underestimated Lin Zichen, confident in his superior speed and combat experience. The audience once again discussed Gao Fei's ability to run 100 meters in under 9 seconds, and his background as the son of a gene fusionist. The referee once again declared the match started. Gao Fei immediately rushed forward, attacking Lin Zichen with astonishing speed. Lin Zichen unleashed the flowing water-crushing rock fist technique, creating countless phantom punches to block the attack. Witnessing this, Gao Fei's coach furiously yelled because the boy had failed to follow the defensive strategy. Gao Fei secretly thought that a genius like himself didn't need defense, while Lin Zichen calmly analyzed his opponent's boxing style. Despite continuous attacks, Gao Fei still couldn't touch Lin Zichen, causing him to panic. Gao Fei screamed in desperation, while Lin Zichen casually provoked him to use all his other moves. Provoked, Gao Fei frantically unleashed a barrage of punches. Lin Zichen coldly declared the match over and easily defeated Gao Fei. The crowd fell silent, jaws dropped in astonishment at the overwhelming victory. Meanwhile, Coach Guo and the Shanghai school teammates cheered excitedly. The subsequent opponents were even weaker, and Lin Zichen defeated them one after another. Before long, he had single-handedly swept all 5 members of the opposing team. Over the next 2 days, Lin Zichen continued to single-handedly defeat 2 more schools. As a result, he led Shanghai High School to win the championship of the 8-school tournament. Despite the victory, Lin Zichen mused that at this rate, it would take many years to complete the system's mission. Unexpectedly, Teacher Guo gave him the majority of the tournament prize money, totaling 20,000 yuan. Combined with other academic awards, Lin Zichen had saved about 30,000 yuan. However, that money was quickly used by him to purchase a large quantity of ghost squid meat. At home, Lin Zichen devoured the squid meat to increase his system progress to 33%, while his mother continuously brought him more food. By his second year of high school, he had broken through to Tier 4, capable of lifting 1,090 kilograms and running 100 meters in 4.49 seconds. Time passed, and Lin Zichen and Shen Qinghan graduated from junior high school together. However, Shen Qinghan was very sad, because her martial arts score was insufficient to enter the elite class with Lin Zichen. Lin Zichen comforted his crying friend and revealed that the principal would be visiting his house, inviting her to come along. Shen Qinghan desperately refused, believing the principal's visit had nothing to do with her. Lin Zichen immediately took her hand, confidently declaring that the only condition for him to stay at the school was for Shen Qinghan to be his deskmate. Lin Zichen recounted that the principal of Shanghai School had personally visited his home to persuade him to continue his studies there. The principal stood up, stating that she had said everything necessary. As she prepared to leave, she said that as long as Lin Zichen agreed to stay, he could make any request. Lin Zichen immediately stood up with Shen Qinghan and presented his sole request, that she be allowed to continue studying in the same class as him. The principal looked at Shen Qinghan and confirmed her name. She happily agreed and arranged for both of them to enroll at the school together. Lin Zichen and Shen Qinghan were overjoyed, thanking the principal in unison. Afterward, Lin Zichen easily helped Shanghai School win the Inter-School Martial Arts Tournament Championship. He used the prize money to fulfill a long-held desire in the forest on the city outskirts. With the ghost squid bestiary progress reaching 80%, he brought the squid meat purchased with the prize money to a secluded spot to complete it. Wasting no time, he began absorbing the life essence from the squid meat. Immediately, the system announced that the ghost squid bestiary was 100% complete, astonishing him. He successfully unlocked and received a new biological attribute, Blessing of Liquid Affinity, allowing him to move and breathe freely underwater. However, Lin Zichen felt this ability was somewhat mediocre. He tested it in a nearby pond and noticed his skin didn't wrinkle and swimming was easier, but there were no other effects. He told himself that the ghost squid was only a low-level monster, so if he wanted better attributes, he had to buy higher-grade meat, or he would wait until he was strong enough to hunt and consume mutant monsters like the giant mutant rat himself. Before the school year began, his family and Shen Qinghan's family decided to take a beach vacation together. At the beach, Shen Qinghan complained that the seawater was too cold. Lin Zichen reassured her as he plunged into the water, while the system continuously added points to his water-related stats and skills. Standing in the water, Shen Qinghan called out to Lin Zichen and asked him to teach her how to swim. Lin Zichen suddenly remembered that Shen Qinghan still didn't know how to swim. He began patiently instructing her, secretly thinking that with her average athletic talent, she would struggle to learn, but she immediately proved him wrong. Shen Qinghan happily swam underwater and boasted that swimming was easy, leaving Lin Zichen stunned at the bottom of the sea. The girl confidently dove into the water with practiced skill. Underwater, Shen Qinghan wondered in astonishment how she was able to dive. She surfaced right in front of Lin Zichen, startling him. Shen Qinghan excitedly showed off that she could open her eyes underwater without feeling any discomfort from the salt water. Watching her swim proficiently in the distance, Lin Zichen mused that learning all swimming skills instantly was highly unusual. He suddenly froze as if realizing something. Lin Zichen suddenly hypothesized that Shen Qinghan's bedwetting might be due to her innate affinity for water. He was excited, believing he had discovered someone with a special cultivation physique, like those in Xianxia novels. The two continued to dive deeper, and Shen Qinghan's performance astonished Lin Zichen even more. He realized they had been holding their breath underwater for over 10 minutes, an impressive feat even for someone trained. Shen Qinghan was completely comfortable in the water, curiously looking around. Suddenly, she felt panicked when she heard a strange sound in the water as a vortex began to form. Both were terrified upon hearing the mysterious sound, and were pulled away by a strong suction force. They were abruptly pushed to the surface, both gasping in horror. Once ashore at night, Lin Zichen anxiously asked why Shen Qinghan had suddenly become so stressed. Shen Qinghan tremblingly explained that she had continuously heard strange, terrifying sounds in her ears earlier. Lin Zichen asked about the strange sound, and Shen Qinghan recounted that it was a female voice constantly echoing in her ear, which only vanished when she reached the shore. To reassure Shen Qinghan, Lin Zichen immediately took her back to the hotel, but searching online yielded no results. Unable to sleep, he decided to return to training, and unexpectedly leveled up after completing 1,000 weighted sit-ups. The system announced that his biological level had advanced to Tier 5, a level strong enough to confront a mature giant mutant rat. After the breakthrough, Lin Zichen went to a deserted beach to test his new power. He could now run 100 meters in just 3.64 seconds and jump 6.98 meters high. He leaped over the tops of coconut trees, realizing he could now lift a car weighing about 1,600 kilograms with one hand. His strength had increased dramatically compared to when he first reached Tier 4. With this progress, Lin Zichen finally began his high school life alongside Shen Qinghan. In the classroom, 2 new female students recognized Lin Zichen and were excited because he was handsome and had cleaning duty on the same day as them. While performing his cleaning duty, Lin Zichen unexpectedly received a new quest from the system, requiring him to complete 1,000 cooperative tasks to gain the social animal attribute. Since the school year had just started and the campus was quiet, he decided to take the opportunity to visit the supermarket. Having unlocked the ghost squid bestiary, Lin Zichen thought it was time to choose a new target. He was astonished when he saw something in the freezer. It was a giant packaged claw, labeled Savage Giant Eagle, priced at 1,998 per kilogram. Lin Zichen smiled excitedly and decided to choose it. The Savage Giant Eagle is a higher-level mutant beast than even the Phantom Bird Thief. Its eyesight is extremely sharp, up to 30 times stronger than that of an ordinary person. Thanks to this, its hunting ability is also top-tier, capable of accurately catching even shadow-fast mutant rabbits. Lin Zichen analyzed that this powerful eyesight would enhance his combat ability, and at 1,998 yuan per kilogram, it was definitely worth unlocking. Immediately, he absorbed the life essence from the claw, a blue aura enveloping his body as the system confirmed the Savage Giant Eagle bestiary had been activated at 1%. Lin Zichen calculated that it would cost over 2 million yuan to fully unlock the Savage Giant Eagle bestiary. He was determined to work harder in high school, earning money from martial arts tournaments so he could unlock the bestiary before his second year. The summer vacation ended, and Lin Zichen officially began his school life at Shanghai High School. On the first day, the teachers introduced themselves in turn, including homeroom teacher Yuan Feng, meditation teacher Kai Yuan Fei, gene fusion teacher Liu Darren, and survival teacher Cheng Bei. Afterward, the students began introducing themselves, starting with Chu Yushi, a girl whose hobbies included the 4 arts, zither, chess, calligraphy, and painting. Next was Zhang Yijia, an energetic girl who loved anime, cosplay, and sports. A male student named Peng Huaguang also stood up to introduce his hobby of playing games at home. Soon, it was Shen Qinghan's turn, and she looked extremely nervous about speaking in front of the crowd. She stood up, blushed, and awkwardly stammered her introduction. Lin Zichen then stood up, introducing himself briefly and calmly. When the introductions finished, a new classmate named Li Chuxin turned around and asked for Shen Qinghan's entrance exam score. Li Chuxin looked at Shen Qinghan curiously, awaiting the answer. Shen Qinghan revealed she scored 709 points, which was higher than Li Chuxin's score. Li Chuxin admired her friend's score, saying that she had only gotten 698 points. Then, Li Chuxin asked about the physical fitness test score, lamenting that she had only scored 95 points. Shen Qinghan bowed her head in shame, secretly thinking about her score of 79, which was insufficient for the specialized class. Unaware of her friend's awkwardness, Li Chuxin continued to guess Shen Qinghan's score was 94 or 93. Shen Qinghan mumbled that her score was even lower than that. Li Chuxin continued to guess lower numbers like 92, 91, or even 90. Suddenly, a foot stomped heavily onto the desk right next to Li Chuxin, startling her in fright. Lin Zichen suggested adding Li Chuxin on WeChat, which made her blush but secretly delighted her immensely. Standing nearby, Shen Qinghan secretly felt relieved that Lin Zichen had helped her escape the awkward situation. Lin Zichen then turned to a male student with a buzz cut named He Yu and suggested they become friends. He quickly created a 4-person chat group named the Dawn Squad, including himself, Shen Qinghan, Li Chuxin, and He Yu. The system announced that Lin Zichen had completed the group creation mission, making him think the task was surprisingly easy. After getting acquainted, the group learned that He Yu came from a prestigious martial arts family in Nangguan City. He had even won 8th place in the city's youth martial arts tournament, bringing honor to his family. Li Chuxin was also revealed to be a wealthy young lady whose family owned an entire chain of clothing stores. Very quickly, the 4 became close and inseparable. During the conversation, He Yu suddenly challenged the group to guess who the strongest person in the class was. Li Chuxin immediately guessed it was Lin Zichen, as he was the top scorer in the entire district's entrance exam. He Yu was utterly astonished upon learning of Lin Zichen's impressive achievement. However, He Yu stated that being the top scorer wasn't enough, as the principal had recruited 2 monsters from Nangguan into their class. The first was Wang Shujie, who ranked 3rd in the Nangguan entrance exam with a record of running 100 meters in 7.98 seconds. The second was Lu Gang, a giant with innate strength, capable of lifting 300 kilograms with one hand. Shen Qinghan and Li Chuxin were astonished, while Lin Zichen secretly thought that those achievements were only equivalent to his strength back in elementary school. The bell rang, and textbooks for the 4 main subjects were distributed: martial arts cultivation, gene fusion, mechanical modification, and wilderness survival. Since he had self-studied everything since childhood, Lin Zichen used his free time to go to a quiet place to train. He was determined to continue getting stronger, as the threat from the rat god cult remained, and the Rat King had yet to reveal itself. That afternoon, the first practical class was wilderness survival, and teacher Cheng Bei asked if anyone knew how to create fire by friction. While the other students were amazed, Wang Shuji easily created fire by drilling wood, while Lu Gang was still struggling. Teacher Cheng Bei was stunned and asked how those 2 students knew this skill. Lu Gang explained that he had taken an extracurricular course, while Wang Shuje arrogantly said he had learned it online back in elementary school. Following the performance of the Nangguan duo, Lin Zichen also quickly created fire and gave instructions to the members of his group. Later in the martial arts cultivation class, teacher Yuan Feng announced that he would teach a special breathing technique. However, the lesson turned into a stage for Lu Gang and Wang Shuji, as they easily performed the difficult movements they had learned previously. More than a month passed, and teacher Kai Yuanfei announced that it was time to test the class's learning progress. The teacher announced attractive cash prizes for the top 3 ranks, with 888 yuan for the first-place winner. Lin Zichen was immediately interested, calculating that the money was almost enough to buy half a kilogram of savage giant eagle meat. Motivated by the prize, all the students focused intensely on taking the test. An hour later, the exam ended, and teacher Liu Daren's gene fusion class also held a similar test. He Yu collapsed onto his desk from exhaustion right after submitting his paper, feeling that the exam had drained all his energy. Other students also began complaining about the overly specialized and tricky questions on the exam. Meanwhile, Wang Shuji and Lu Gang casually boasted, confident that both of them would score 99 points. Hearing this, He Yu angrily clenched his fists, wanting nothing more than to rush over and punch the 2 braggarts. The mechanical modification teacher entered the classroom, announcing that the test results were in. When the teacher read Shen Qinghan's score as 61, she happily informed Lin Zichen that she had passed the subject. Next, the teacher announced He Yu's score of 88, which drew gasps of admiration from the entire class. He Yu was modest about Lin Zichen's praise, but confidently declared that he would win 3rd place and treat the whole group with the prize money. Immediately after, the teacher announced that Lu Gang and Wang Shujie both scored 95, praising them for being only 1 question away from a perfect score. Wang Shuji confidently told the teacher that given more time, he could have solved the final question, and Lu Gang agreed. He Yu was annoyed by their boasting but remained certain he would secure 3rd place. The mechanical modification teacher announced that despite the extreme difficulty of the exam, 1 student still achieved a perfect score. That person was none other than Lin Zichen, with a perfect 100 points. Wang Shuji and Lu Gang were stunned, shouting that the result was absurd. While He Yu was bitter about being knocked out of the top 3, the other female students cheered in admiration for Lin Zichen's achievement. Lin Zichen raised his hand, only concerned with asking the teacher when he would receive the 888 yuan reward. The teacher replied that he would send the bonus via the class group chat, secretly wondering if Lin Zichen was truly that hard up for cash. An hour later, teacher Kai Yuanfei announced that the results for the gene fusion exam had been graded. Lu Gang and Wang Shuji scored 81 and 83 points respectively, an impressive result, but not enough to satisfy them. Meanwhile, Shen Qinghan was overjoyed to learn she scored 78 points, placing her in the top 5. Lin Zichen once again earned a perfect score, further infuriating He Yu, Wang Shuji, and Lu Gang. Wang Shuji and Lu Gang stood up to protest, suggesting that Lin Zichen might have known the answers beforehand. Teacher Kai Yuanfei internally dismissed the idea, knowing it was impossible. He explained that he personally set the questions, and there was no way to cheat, silencing the 2 students. He Yu and another female student laughed at Wang Shuje for not accepting defeat and resorting to slander. Lunch break ended, and the class quickly began the wilderness survival test. Teacher Cheng Bei announced the prize and the test contents, which included climbing, swimming, and fire starting. Wang Shuje resolved to reclaim his honor in the afternoon test. Lu Gang agreed, declaring he would use all his strength to crush Lin Zichen and wash away the humiliation. In the wilderness survival test, Lin Zichen easily took 1st place in the tree climbing section, leaving the Nangguan duo far behind. However, Shen Qinghan struggled with the mountain climbing section and finished last. In the fire starting section, Lin Zichen once again demonstrated superiority, completing it in just 58 seconds. During the swimming test, Shen Qinghan revealed her innate talent, swimming faster than everyone else and leaving Wang Shuji stunned. After the test, Wang Shuji and Lu Gang were completely demoralized and remained silent for a long time. The silence was broken when teacher Yuan Feng gathered the class for a martial arts assessment following a month of training. Wang Shujie and Lu Gang immediately regained their fighting spirit, determined to reclaim the #1 spot using their combat skills. Before the sparring matches, Yuan Feng had the entire class warm up with a 3-part physical fitness test. Lin Zichen completed the 100-meter dash in 7.78 seconds and lifted 330 kilograms with one hand. He continued to lead in the vertical jump section with a result of 2.18 meters, secretly thinking that just slightly surpassing the duo was enough. Wang Shujie and Lu Gang gaped in astonishment, unable to comprehend Lin Zichen's absurd strength. Wang Shujie tried to reassure Lu Gang that combat technique was the deciding factor, and they still had hope. Afterward, the entire class moved to the arena area, and Lin Zichen was the first to step onto the stage. Because his stats were so terrifying, no one dared to challenge Lin Zichen, leaving him waiting alone. To break the deadlock, Yuan Feng assigned a student named Lu Wei to fight Lin Zichen. Both took their stances, preparing for the first sparring match. To save time, Lin Zichen decided to finish quickly and defeated Lu Wei with a single blow. He immediately defeated another male opponent right after. A female student was no exception, being knocked out by Lin Zichen in the blink of an eye. Witnessing this, Wang Shuji and Lu Gang realized in horror that Lin Zichen hadn't even used his full strength during the physical fitness test. Lu Gang jumped onto the stage, confidently shouting his name. He pointed forward, challenging his opponent and declaring that he was in peak condition. He Yu faced Lu Gang, while Lu Gang secretly thought that fighting He Yu was better than facing Lin Zichen. Lu Gang yelled his acceptance of the challenge and charged forward to attack. The two rushed at each other, unleashing a series of lightning-fast moves. He Yu easily blocked Lu Gang's attack. Immediately after, He Yu used a powerful throw, tossing Lu Gang high into the air. Lu Gang was slammed hard onto the mat, completely overwhelmed. After the impact, Lu Gang was so dazed that he vomited violently. He Yu scoffed, admitting that Lu Gang had the best physical skills in the class, but was still a step below him. After winning, He Yu turned to challenge Lin Zichen, who saw this as a good opportunity to increase his progress count. He Yu confidently declared that he was not afraid. He charged forward and threw a punch toward Lin Zichen. However, Lin Zichen stood still and easily dodged all of He Yu's high-speed attacks. He Yu was astonished by his opponent's unbelievable speed. Lin Zichen counterattacked with a kick to He Yu's abdomen. That single kick sent He Yu flying far away, collapsing onto the mat. Witnessing the scene, the other students began provoking Wang Shuji, urging him to get on the stage for revenge. Annoyed, Wang Shuji yelled for everyone to shut up and rushed into the arena. Facing Lin Zichen, Wang Shuji told himself he would find a way to win, then charged forward with all his might to attack. Lin Zichen blocked Wang Shuji's punch with a strike of his own. He easily flipped over his head, dodged the attack, and countered with a kick to Wang Shuji's back. Wang Shuji collapsed onto the floor, unconscious and foaming at the mouth. Afterward, Lin Zichen proceeded to defeat the remaining male students in the class, one by one. He continued to use simple moves to neutralize each opponent. Another male student lost his balance and tumbled over with just a light push. Lin Zichen mused that since each opponent could only be scored once, he could now only fight the female students. Immediately, a group of female students in the class eagerly raised their hands to volunteer. Chu Yushi was the first to speak up, boldly challenging Lin Zichen. She rushed forward with a high-speed flying kick. Lin Zichen secretly praised her speed, but still easily dodged the attack. Chu Yushi fell face-first onto the floor, regretting that she hadn't managed to grab her opponent. Undeterred, the other female students also stepped onto the mat, one after another, and were defeated by Lin Zichen. He admitted that he had gone easy on the girls because his main goal was to complete the achievement. After the practice session, teacher Yuan Feng announced that the class would challenge the strongest class of the second-year cohort in 1 month. Lin Zichen smiled, seeing this as a heaven-sent opportunity to accelerate his progress. After school, Lu Gang approached and declared Lin Zichen his rival for the next 3 years. Wang Shuji also swore revenge, but Lin Zichen ignored both of them, preoccupied with the prize money of over 3,000 yuan he had just earned. He happily walked away, leaving his 2 angry rivals behind, thinking only of using the money to buy monster meat. Night fell upon the city. In his bedroom, Lin Zichen typed furiously, thinking that the prize money earned was still not enough to buy monster meat and unlock the codex. To earn more money, he decided to register as a web novel author and began his writing journey. As soon as he woke up, Lin Zichen received a contract offer from an editor at the UN platform. After signing the contract, he read a breaking news report about a giant mutant rat that had just attacked a cold storage facility containing monster meat in the suburbs. The report described the mutant rat as over 5 meters long and having bitten a cyborg in half. Before being completely destroyed, the cyborg activated its backup energy core to self-destruct, along with the enemy. A terrifying explosion tore the giant mutant rat's body apart instantly. Lin Zichen frowned worriedly, wondering how many more giant rats like that were hiding in Shanghai City. At the Shanghai High School gymnasium, a practice match was about to begin. Teacher Feng was instructing his elite second-year students on strategy. A student stomped his foot heavily on the ground, ready for the match. Lin Zichen stepped onto the ring, volunteering to Teacher Han that he wanted to go first to complete his achievement. His opponent, a blonde second-year female student, frantically complained to her teacher that she was the weakest in the class, yet had to face the strongest opponent. Another second-year student angrily questioned Teacher Han, arguing that sending the strongest student out first violated the unwritten rules. Teacher Han immediately asked Lin Zichen to step down, yielding the spot to weaker classmates. Lin Zichen reluctantly obeyed and stepped down from the ring. Teacher Han assigned a female student named Yuntong to compete, but she appeared flustered because she was not ready. Hanlin immediately stepped forward, claiming to be the weakest and volunteering to take her friend's place. Standing on the ring, facing a significantly taller opponent, Hanlin couldn't help but feel nervous. From the stands below, her classmates cheered, calling out Han Hung to encourage her. Her friend's encouragement only made Hanlin more anxious. The match began, and the blonde second-year student immediately launched a fierce attack. Hanlin could only struggle to raise her arms in defense against her opponent's continuous punches. She told herself that even if she couldn't win, she had to try to hold out to drain the senior student's stamina. After 3 minutes, the blonde student began to feel tired and realized she had to end the match quickly. She delivered a high kick, sending Hanlin flying far away. Hanlin crashed onto the mat, completely exhausted and defeated. She stumbled to her feet in embarrassment as Lin Zichen and another classmate watched. Teacher Han gave a thumbs up, praising her smart defensive strategy. Lin Zichen also approached, patted her head, and encouraged her, saying she had improved greatly by holding out for over 3 minutes. Another brown-haired ponytail student rushed onto the mat, confident that she could defeat the fatigued opponent. She threw a kick, but the blonde student easily blocked it. After dodging another strike, the blonde student quickly counterattacked. She grabbed her opponent's head and violently slammed her onto the floor. Restrained in a painful lock, the brown-haired student quickly yelled out to surrender. The blonde student mocked her opponent for rushing in without defending herself. She advised her opponent to go practice for another year before coming back to challenge her. Another tow-headed female student angrily stepped onto the mat. She pointed to herself and declared she would avenge Hanlin. However, just as she charged forward, the second-year student delivered a kick that instantly knocked her out. Hanlin raised her fist, cheering that Chuxin was amazing. Lin Zichen comforted Hanlin, saying she was also excellent, because if she hadn't worn down the senior student's stamina, Chuxin wouldn't have won so easily. 2 hours later, Teacher Feng crossed his arms and mocked Teacher Han, saying that his class only had 4 people left and that he had definitely won the meal bet. Teacher Han replied, telling him not to celebrate too soon, because Lin Zichen, Wang Shujie, Lu Gang, and He Yu, the true aces of the first-year class, were still remaining. Teacher Han confidently called for He Yu to prepare for the next match. He Yu responded and quickly jumped onto the stage, ready for action. He provoked his opponent, asking if the senior student was ready to face his punches. A light brown-haired second-year male student crossed his arms, mocking He Yu and telling him to stop showing off. Immediately, He Yu threw a punch straight at the student's face, yelling that he had ruined his cool moment. The second-year student was sent flying onto the floor after the surprise attack. He Yu stood on the stage looking down, contemptuously asking who allowed an idiot like him to speak, and called him trash. He stomped his foot hard on the floor to show intimidation. Another male student from the opposing team, with long grayish-purple hair, stepped forward, calling He Yu an arrogant brat. He lunged forward, threw a powerful punch, and declared he would let He Yu taste true strength. He Yu easily dodged the attack with astonishing speed, leaving his opponent stunned. He executed a spinning kick from a handstand position, hitting the opponent. The grayish-purple-haired student collapsed onto the floor, unconscious. Hanlin and Chuxin cheered wildly, encouraging He Yu to smash the opponents. After that, He Yu consecutively defeated many more opponents. He delivered a decisive hook punch, taking down yet another opponent. Knocked down, He Yu struggled back up and yelled that he wanted to keep fighting. Although exhausted, he still tried to look strong, and challenged the next opponent. Finally, when facing his sixth opponent, He was defeated. Teacher Han had no choice but to call his next ace. Wang Shuje, it's your turn. Wang Shuji immediately rushed onto the stage with a powerful flying kick. He single-handedly defeated 10 consecutive opponents from the second-year team. Teacher Han was astonished and asked Teacher Feng, saying he didn't recall the opposing class having such a strong student. Teacher Feng smiled smugly, explaining that Wang Shuje was a transfer student, and reiterated the bet, reminding Teacher Han that he was about to lose. Realizing he had been tricked, Teacher Han desperately thought that even Lin Zichen couldn't possibly win now. Nevertheless, he encouraged Lin Zichen to step onto the stage to gain experience. Lin Zichen confidently replied that he would definitely win, leaving Teacher Han dumbfounded. On the stage, Lin Zichen's opponent was a large, obese senior student, who secretly thought his opponent was too skinny. From the stands, a group of female students, including Chu Yushi, loudly insulted the obese senior student to cheer for Lin Zichen. The senior student flinched at the taunts. To show his confidence, he declared he would stand still and let Lin Zichen hit him 10 times. He explained that he was doing this, so Lin Zichen's female fans couldn't complain that he was bullying the weak. Lin Zichen casually agreed to the offer. The obese senior student spread his arms, challenging Lin Zichen to attack with all his might. Instantly, Lin Zichen delivered a punch straight to the opponent's stomach. The punch was so powerful that it sent the obese senior student flying into the air. The obese senior student named Wang Jinhe was knocked down onto the stage, creating a large dent. The entire class fell silent for a moment, watching Wang Jinhe lie motionless in the middle of the floor. Immediately afterward, Lin Zichen's classmates erupted in joy, cheering loudly to celebrate the resounding victory. Wang Jinhe woke up, sat up with a bewildered expression, wondering what had just happened, and thinking the result was absurd. Teacher Han, astonished, told Teacher Feng that Lin Zichen was insane, even comparing him to the legendary Wu Tiancheng of the past. However, Teacher Feng argued that Wu Tiancheng was on a different level, a non-human, who had once terrified even the principal. Lin Zichen curiously approached and asked the two teachers about the person named Wu Tiancheng. Teacher Han explained that Wu Tiancheng was a senior student who, as a first year, single-handedly wiped out the entire third-year elite class. He continued to list Wu Tiancheng's incredible achievements, running 100 meters in 6.12 seconds, a standing high jump of 3.96 meters, and lifting 650 kilograms with one hand. Lin Zichen pretended to be scared, but secretly thought that strength was only comparable to his own during the summer break of 6th grade. After the match, the entire class was treated to a meal at the Mingxiang restaurant. Yu led the toast, calling on everyone to celebrate the victory Lin Zichen had brought them. The whole class responded in unison, shouting Brother Chen's name in the festive atmosphere. Lin Zichen became famous, surrounded by classmates asking questions and requesting to be friends, which made him feel slightly awkward. Amidst the noise, he realized that only Shen Qinghan hadn't changed, still quietly putting food into his bowl. Shen Qinghan flinched when she was looked at, blushing. She told Lin Zichen that she needed to go to the restroom for a moment. Lin Zichen watched his friends retreating back, and secretly thought that even her habit of uncontrollably needing to pee hadn't changed. As she neared the door, Shen Qinghan stumbled when she overheard two other female students gossiping, calling her a maid who flattered her master. The two female students discussed how Shen Qinghan only got into the elite class by sucking up to Lin Zichen, and that their relationship wouldn't last long. Shen Qinghan suddenly appeared behind them, her face darkening as she coldly denied, "I am not a flatterer." She boldly declared that she was Lin Zichen's childhood sweetheart, astonishing the two female students. On the way home, Lin Zichen noticed Shen Qinghan's sad expression and asked about it worriedly. Shen Qinghan sadly recounted how her mother used to comfort her, saying that when she grew up, she wouldn't wet the bed anymore. She confessed that even now, she has to wear diapers every night when she sleeps, which makes her very uncomfortable. With a distressed look, Shen Qinghan told Lin Zichen that she felt like a disabled person who couldn't control her bladder. Lin Zichen looked straight at her and asserted, "You are not disabled." He explained that her inability to hold her urine was actually her superpower, it just hadn't fully developed yet. Shen Qinghan exclaimed in surprise, "A superpower?" Lin Zichen confirmed it, suggesting that her extraordinary affinity for water was a manifestation of that superpower. Hearing this, Shen Qinghan curiously asked if Lin Zichen's strength since childhood was also a superpower. Lin Zichen admitted that he also had a superpower, just like her. Encouraged, Shen Qinghan began to fantasize about the kind of superpower she might possess. Lin Zichen smiled reassuringly, saying it would definitely be a very powerful superpower. As they approached a building, they were stopped by an armed special forces team, who warned them not to approach because they were exterminating rats for public safety. Inside, A middle-aged man was fighting back against the special forces with a stick, desperately screaming at them not to kill the rats he called his brothers. He cried out in pain and indignation as he watched the rats continue to be killed. In a fit of rage, the man swung his broom and charged at the special forces team. Shen Qinghan fearfully asked Lin Zichen if that man was crazy. Lin Zichen calmly replied that mentally ill patients are all like that, then led his friend home. That night, at Lin Zichen's house, the whole family was gathered together. They watched the news report together about the disappearance of a young female teacher the previous week. Zhang Wanxin worriedly exclaimed that this was already the fourth disappearance of a young woman this month. Lin Yansheng corrected her seriously, stating that this was actually the fifth case. The news displayed images of all 5 victims and issued a warning to young women. Zhang Wanxin turned to instruct her son to keep an eye on Shen Qinghan, and Lin Zichen happily agreed. Meanwhile, at a security station in Shanghai City, the rat-loving man had been arrested. A doctor stepped out of the interrogation room, where the suspect was sitting silently. The police officer asked about the situation, and the doctor reported that the suspect hadn't said a word, as if he were mute. The police officer immediately countered, asserting that the man had been screaming non-stop at the market. Suddenly, the police officer felt something was wrong, and stared in shock at the interrogation room. Both watched in horror as the man inside began convulsing violently. Amidst the doctor's panicked screams for cyborg assistance, the man's body transformed into a giant mutant rat. The police forces present at the scene immediately opened fire on the monster. A female officer reported to the commander that all cyborgs were currently on assignment, and reinforcements would arrive in 10 minutes. The commander ordered his team into the vehicles, instructing them to lure the monster out of the densely populated area, to buy time. The female officer quickly took the driver's seat, preparing to execute the plan. A police officer stepped on the gas, his face filled with determination as he carried out the dangerous mission. The police car sped down the highway, attempting to lure the giant rat monster up the mountain to stall for reinforcements. They quickly drove through a dark tunnel, trying to outrun the monster. However, the monster let out a terrifying roar and charged forward at breakneck speed. It used its tremendous strength to toss the police car into the air. Inside the overturned car, the female officer was severely injured and desperately thought that everything was over. The monster stood towering next to the wreckage of the car, roaring in triumph. Suddenly, a barrage of missiles flew in and exploded violently against its body. A female cyborg in purple armor appeared in the sky, declaring that she had locked onto the target. She ordered the attack, and missiles continuously slammed into the monster's body. After the battle, the female cyborg landed and realized the monster had dug a hole to escape despite being severely wounded. She believed it could still be tracked. The scene shifted to the city at 3 in the morning. Lin Zichen was in his room, contemplating the success of his web novel and his anticipated upcoming income. Too excited to sleep, he decided to go to a deserted alley to test the results of his training. He rechecked his new stats, noting his ability to run 100 meters in 3.42 seconds and jump 7.22 meters high. Lin Zichen felt that if he continued at this pace, he could reach an extraordinary realm purely through physical strength. Suddenly, he froze when he heard a gruesome chewing sound coming from ahead. He peered into the darkness and saw a figure hunched over on the ground. It was a hideous rat-human hybrid creature eating someone, constantly muttering apologies to the victim for being too hungry. Lin Zichen was astonished to realize that the creature before him was the Rat Man, likely the escaped mutant rat mentioned in the news. Just as he was about to run and call the police, the Rat Man spotted him and offered to go find someone else to eat instead. But hunger quickly overwhelmed it. It roared, demanding human flesh, and lunged toward Lin Zichen at a terrifying speed that made evasion impossible. Having no other choice, Lin Zichen decided to confront it directly and threw a punch straight at the enemy. The punch was so powerful it sent the rat creature flying backward. The creature was stunned, unable to believe that a seemingly weak student could possess such terrifying strength. After landing, the rat creature roared and grabbed a large slab of concrete. It hurled the slab toward Lin Zichen with all its might. Determined to end the fight, Lin Zichen charged forward and shattered the rock into countless fragments with his fist. The fragments flew back, embedding themselves in the rat creature and causing it to collapse. Standing breathless next to the monster's pile of shredded flesh, Lin Zichen wondered if it was truly dead. He cautiously placed his hand on the corpse to check. The system announced that he had absorbed a small amount of life essence, with the giant mutant rat bestiary reaching 7%, but he found the amount too small compared to the previous time. Realizing dawn was approaching and it wasn't safe to stay, Lin Zichen decided to head back first. Immediately after he left, an armored figure landed in the alley. The purple-haired female cyborg stood on the rat creature's corpse, wondering who had killed it. Meanwhile, at another dark location, a ruined building appeared. Inside, a hooded man carried an unconscious blonde woman into a ritual circle. He placed the woman down as a sacrifice, and knelt, offering her up to the rat god. In the darkness, an entity with glowing red eyes questioned the meager offering, threatening to let its followers starve. The entity, the rat god, mocked that one woman wasn't enough to fill a tooth gap, and threatened to turn the follower himself into a sacrifice, forcing him to quickly explain. The follower tremblingly explained that kidnapping young women was becoming increasingly difficult because they had grown more vigilant. Hearing this, the rat god ordered him to kidnap young men next time. The follower immediately obeyed, bowing his head to comply with the rat god's command. A piece of raw meat was suddenly thrown down in front of the follower. He thanked the rat god for the gift, and began ravenously eating the raw meat. Meanwhile, a gigantic fleshy tongue reached out, wrapping around the unconscious woman in the ritual circle. The rat god's sharp teeth opened, preparing to devour the sacrifice. From outside, gruesome chewing and swallowing sounds echoed from within the abandoned building. After the meal, the rat god complained that the flesh of ordinary people tasted terrible and ordered that next time, noble aristocrats must be captured for a more palatable meal. Changing the scene, Lin Zichen was diligently teaching martial arts to Shen Qinghan at her house, correcting her punching angle to increase power. He continued to adjust her stance, asking her to widen her legs for better stability. Lin Zichen moved behind Shen Qinghan, adjusting her posture so she wouldn't face the opponent directly. After finishing the instruction, he asked her to practice by attacking him with all her strength. Shen Qinghan didn't hesitate and immediately rushed forward to attack. Her punch landed on Lin Zichen's chest. He praised her angle, and noted that her strength had improved. She threw a kick, but Lin Zichen easily blocked it with one hand. He pointed out the flaw in her kicking stance, and directly corrected her posture, asking her to repeat the movement. After the training session, Shen Qinghan gasped, exhausted, but still felt her martial arts strength increasing. She suggested that Lin Zichen train her daily instead of 3 sessions a week, arguing that it wasn't enough. Lin Zichen refused, explaining that her body wouldn't be able to handle it, and she reluctantly accepted the old training schedule. Suddenly, a notification sounded from Lin Zichen's phone. He showed Shen Qinghan a special news report that had just appeared on his phone. The report discussed a corporation sponsoring treatment for a former cyborg prodigy who was disabled due to premature mechanical modification. Lin Zichen read another piece of news about a Kyoto University genius who had just undergone a second gene fusion, and he wondered if it was the same prodigy from years ago. The article emphasized the terrifying talent of the Kyoto prodigy, making Lin Zichen ponder whether gene fusion was truly the ultimate path. That night, at his home, another aspect of Lin Zichen was revealed. He was focused on typing in front of his computer screen, surrounded by readers praising comments about a monster author. He mused about his ability to write 10,000 words per hour, a skill that didn't affect his training time at all. His father, Lin Yansheng, walked in and praised his son's novel, predicting he could earn 50,000 to 100,000 yuan per month. Lin Zichen realized this money would help him cover the costs of unlocking the savage giant eagle bestiary. In the martial arts class, teacher Han Yuanfeng announced a sparring session to check the class's progress. Lin Zichen easily slammed a classmate onto the mat. He continued to dominate the ring, completely overwhelming his opponents. He dodged and counterattacked in a flash, leaving no one able to resist. After achieving absolute victory, Lin Zichen received a reward of 888 yuan from teacher Han Yuanfeng and system experience points. In stark contrast, Shen Qinghan lost all her matches, standing dejectedly at the back of the class, while another female student patted her shoulder with a smug smile. Unlike the previous time when she was defeated by Wen Yuntong in 3 seconds, this time Shen Qinghan was able to fight back. She managed to hold out for nearly 3 minutes, throwing multiple punches and kicks during the sparring match. Shen Qinghan's progress was acknowledged and praised by teacher Han Yuanfeng. Afterward, teacher Han Yuanfeng announced to the class that in 1 month, they would challenge the strongest elite class of the second year. The entire class unanimously supported the goal of defeating all second-year students except for the top 3. More than a month passed, and Lin Zichen's novel had earned him 89,000 yuan. He went to a store and asked to buy savage giant eagle meat. The sales clerk said that buying 50 kilograms at once would grant a 5% discount. Lin Zichen decided not to buy for now, choosing to wait until next month to save enough money to take advantage of the promotion. The next day at school, a different scene unfolded. Shen Qinghan invited Lin Zichen to try the newly opened stir-fry stall in the cafeteria. They arrived and saw the chefs showcasing their cooking skills. Shen Qinghan was extremely delighted by the appetizing aroma of the dishes. Both quickly grabbed a tray full of hearty food. While they were eating, Shen Qinghan was glad they had arrived early, while an argument about cutting the line began to erupt behind them. The argument grew heated between He Yu and another male student. Shen Qinghan anxiously asked Lin Zichen if they should intervene, but he calmly suggested that He Yu could handle it himself. The other male student angrily glared at He Yu, who was standing defiantly with his hands on his hips. Immediately after, that student called 4 more friends over to confront He Yu. He Yu angrily questioned the group of 5 students who were cutting the line, but the ringleader casually admitted his actions. He yelled, demanding that they get in line immediately. He Yu tensed up, radiating killing intent, preparing to use force to resolve the situation. However, he was astonished to realize he couldn't even push 2 of the guys in the group. Standing nearby, Shen Qinghan worriedly told Lin Zichen that He Yu seemed to be in trouble. Lin Zichen immediately stepped forward, placed a hand on He Yu's shoulder, and politely asked the other student to go to the back of the line. The ringleader turned around, arrogantly challenging Lin Zichen on what he would do if he refused to move. Lin Zichen smiled, raised his phone, and replied that he would report them. The student sneered, claiming that resorting to reporting was a cowardly act. Lin Zichen retorted that cutting the line was far more despicable. Threatened, the entire group reluctantly stomped off in frustration. The scene shifts to a mansion in the wealthy district of Shanghai City at night. Inside, a black-robed leader informed the kneeling followers about the death of member Xia Qiang, and stated that he deserved it. The leader then introduced a new member who would replace Xia Qiang. He relayed the rat god's words that common people taste terrible, and from now on, the sacrifices must be noble and powerful individuals. The other members worried that kidnapping important people was too risky and would lead to serious consequences. The leader proposed a safer solution: kidnapping the sons of wealthy merchants who lacked political power. He assigned the first mission to the new member: practice by capturing a handsome young man to offer to the rat god's offspring. The new member confidently accepted the order, promising to deliver the most handsome offering in the entire city. He Yu angrily revealed that the students who cut the line the day before were the elite class they were about to face. Lin Zichen calmly replied that being academically gifted doesn't equate to good character. He suddenly noticed a news item on his phone. It was a missing person report for a young master. This was already the 5th case. Lin Zichen suspected that these disappearances were connected to the rat god cult. The day of the challenge arrived, and students gathered around 2 large martial arts rings. The group of second-year students who caused trouble last week continued to provoke He Yu. He Yu did not hesitate to respond with a similar gesture. When the match began, Shen Qinghan was the first to step onto the ring. She was quickly and completely overwhelmed by a black-haired second-year female student. Shen Qinghan was thrown far away by a powerful kick. She fell to the floor and silently admitted that her opponent was too strong. After that, Huang Tianxing landed a punch on the black-haired second-year female student. Previously, many other students had also been defeated by this second-year female student. Not only Shen Qinghan but also Li Chuxin and others were completely helpless. It wasn't until Huang Tianxing stepped in that the first second-year female student was defeated. But another second-year female student, red-haired and wearing glasses, quickly took control of the situation. She single-handedly defeated 9 opponents in a row, including 3 male students. Before long, the first-year class only had 4 people left: Lin Zichen, Wang Shuji, Lu Gang, and He Yu. Meanwhile, the second-year class still had 36 people who hadn't fought, and the 5 who were eliminated earlier were all female. Teacher Han worriedly admitted that the power gap was too large, and his students had no chance of winning. He turned to He Yu, assigning him the task of defeating the remaining 6 female students on the opposing team. He Yu confidently accepted and got into a ready stance. He secretly thought that he was ready to face even more senior female students. In the blink of an eye, He Yu ended the match. All 6 second-year female students were easily defeated by him. Immediately after, the first male student from the second-year class stepped onto the ring, provoking He Yu. He Yu responded, secretly thinking that the first opponent must be the weakest, and this was his chance for revenge. Suddenly, the opponent rushed forward with terrifying speed and threw a punch. The punch landed squarely on He Yu's abdomen. He Yu collapsed, stunned by the opponent's speed and power. The second-year senior sneered, telling He Yu to admit he was trash and surrender. Enraged, He Yu roared and launched a retaliatory kick. The kick hit its mark, sending the opponent flying. The senior was kicked backward. However, He Yu was also exhausted, and collapsed onto the ring floor. The senior stood up, turned toward the stands, and provoked Lin Zichen. Without a word, Lin Zichen immediately leaped over the barrier and charged straight onto the stage. Lin Zichen landed in the ring, thinking to himself that it was finally his turn to show off. His classmates, including He Yu, shouted encouragement, demanding that he humiliate the opponent to avenge them. Qi Yue wasted no time, charging straight toward Lin Zichen to attack. Lin Zichen easily leaned back, dodging the opponent's punch. He used his leg to block the attack, and firmly grabbed Qi Yue's arm. With a decisive move, Lin Zichen slammed the opponent down, violently throwing him onto the ring floor. Qi Yue lay unconscious on the floor, eyes rolled back. Lin Zichen stood coldly, looking down at the defeated opponent at his feet. He then kicked the unconscious Qi Yue off the stage. The other second-year students were stunned, unable to believe that Qi Yue, one of the top 5 strongest in their class, had been defeated so quickly. From the stands below, Lu Gang mused, speculating that Lin Zichen must have been hiding a significant amount of power. Wang Shuzhe and Lu Gang were astonished by Lin Zichen's strength, wondering if he was even human. Lin Zichen turned to the remaining group of second-year students and challenged the next person. The entire group of seniors trembled in fear of his power. Half an hour later, Lin Zichen stood in the center of the ring, surrounded by the 29 defeated second-year students, and silently calculated his progress. A system panel appeared, showing the total number of opponents defeated was 119 over 1,000, and Lin Zichen felt this progress was too slow. He realized his strength far surpassed the high school level, and decided he would create his own rules. On Monday, a shout of astonishment echoed from the principal's office. In the office, Lin Zichen proposed that the principal organize a rewarded individual challenge match, declaring that he would challenge the entire school. In the office, the Shanghai High principal expressed skepticism, finding it ridiculous that a freshman like Lin Zichen wanted to challenge the entire school. Lin Zichen resolutely invited her to the gym so he could prove his strength. The two of them proceeded together into the school gymnasium. Inside, the principal crossed her arms and wondered why Lin Zichen had brought her here at this hour. He took off his outer jacket and declared that he would show her his power. Realizing his intention, the principal panicked and tried to stop him. Lin Zichen said nothing, his hand already gripping the barbell. To the principal's astonishment, he easily lifted the 700 kilograms barbell with just one hand. The principal stood frozen, completely stunned by the extraordinary sight. She thought to herself that this strength even surpassed the record set by Wu Tiancheng, the strongest student in the school's history during his freshman year. Completely convinced, she gave him a thumbs up and happily agreed to arrange a personal challenge match for him against the entire school. Lin Zichen reminded her not to forget to prepare prizes to encourage participation. He proposed a dual prize system, including a participation prize and a large cumulative grand prize that he would receive if no one could defeat him. The principal confidently assured him that she would arrange everything exactly as he wished. He instructed her to keep his strength a secret, and she happily agreed. Afterward, the scene shifted back to the principal's office. The principal handed Lin Zichen the plan. He looked it over and thanked her for her hard work. She smiled and replied that it was no big deal. Outside, 2 teachers, Han Yuanfeng and the mechanical modification teacher, rubbed their eyes, unable to believe what they were seeing. Han Yuanfeng was stunned, wondering why the principal, who always maintained a cold expression, was smiling and flattering Lin Zichen. At 2 p.m., the school arena was packed with students surrounding the 2 fighting rings. On the stage, the principal introduced Lin Zichen and explained the challenge rules in detail. The crowd of students reacted fiercely, believing Lin Zichen was just an arrogant freshman who didn't know his own limits. Lin Zichen calmly announced that he would be present at the gym every lunch break for matches, thinking to himself that this was a good opportunity to complete his quest. That night, another scene was unfolding on a city street. A blonde young man was strolling, drinking water as he walked. 2 seductive women approached him and invited him out for a drink. He coldly refused, telling them to scram. As the 2 women walked away and mocked him, he thought to himself that this city was pathetic. He lamented that he had been searching for days and still hadn't found a man handsome enough for his mission. He worried about failing to complete the sacrificial mission and being punished by the leader. He also realized he was too weak to kidnap celebrities who were always surrounded by bodyguards. Just as the deadline was approaching and he was despairing, a figure flashed past. It was Lin Zichen jogging in the evening. The predator was stunned, thinking to himself that Lin Zichen was incredibly handsome. He rejoiced that he had finally found his perfect target so easily. With a sinister smile, he decided that Lin Zichen was exactly who he was looking for. He quietly followed Lin Zichen as the boy turned into a deserted alley. Noticing the secluded path, he flashed a savage grin. Believing the time was right, he transformed into a hideous monster, ready to attack. The monster's attack was halted by a brick, smashing directly into its head. In a dark cavern, a giant green monster held a smaller gray creature tightly, remarking that the eyes of sewer rats smelled foul. With a wicked smile, the green monster added that despite the stench, they tasted delicious. It accused the gray creature of being a coward, letting its brother impersonate the Rat King while it hid in the shadows enjoying itself. The green monster then issued an ultimatum, demanding that the creature start digging tunnels for it immediately. As blood splattered, the green monster declared that disobedience would still result in death. The next day at school, students gossiped as Lin Zichen walked by, wondering if he would really go to the arena to start the all-school challenge. Lin Zichen calmly checked his phone, ignoring the surrounding whispers. On the screen was a wanted notice for the 9 remaining members of the Rat God cult, with a reward of up to 500,000 yuan. He thought to himself that this was essentially a mobile 500,000 yuan prize. However, he decided it was better to focus on increasing his strength first, and worry about the reward later. Upon arriving at the arena, he saw a massive crowd of students already gathered around the ring. Standing on the stage, Lin Zichen observed the large number of participants with satisfaction. He thought to himself that besides the matches, there were also prizes for the participants. Hanlin used the microphone to announce that anyone who participated in the challenge would receive a raffle ticket with great prizes. The male students cheered excitedly, shouting about game consoles, phones, and the chance to meet Shen Qinghan. A lovesick student reached out, desperate to be the first challenger. However, a female student jumped past him, declaring that she would go first. Chaos erupted as dozens of eager female students climbed over the male students, all trying to rush the ring. The ring was quickly filled by a group of female students, all shouting that they wanted to challenge Lin Zichen. A female student excitedly touched Lin Zichen's arm, marveling at its firmness. Another female student pressed close, blushing as she admired his handsome face. Countless hands from other female students also reached out, touching Lin Zichen. Surrounded by the fervent crowd, Lin Zichen thought to himself that things were getting strange. He decided to act. Although he didn't like hitting girls, he did it for the sake of his achievement goal. With a flick of his hand, Lin Zichen created a strong gust of wind that sent one female student flying. Another female student was also blown away by his attack. A small whirlwind erupted, blowing all the female students far away while they screamed. A system notification appeared, showing his progress for the survival of the fittest achievement had increased to 309 over 1,000. Despite being defeated, one female student still raised her hand and shouted that she wanted to challenge him again. Lin Zichen coldly declared that those who had lost were not allowed to challenge him again. The female students looked disappointed, one lamenting that she still wanted to be close to him. A muscular male student stepped out, declaring that he had been annoyed by Lin Zichen for a long time and wanted to teach him a lesson. Lin Zichen threw a single punch, and his achievement progress immediately soared to 419 over 1,000. The male student collapsed onto the floor, instantly unconscious. Time passed in the silence of the arena. Lin Zichen stood over a pile of defeated students and challenged, "Is there anyone else?" A tall male student wearing glasses stepped out from the crowd, announcing his participation in the match. The crowd recognized him as Yan Xiaoshuan, the overlord of the second-year elite class. The students recounted that Yan Xiaoshuan had once defeated an entire class by himself, but he himself had been subdued by an upperclassman named Chen Wuxing. On the stage, Yan Xiaoshuan began lecturing Lin Zichen, saying that he used to be arrogant like that. Lin Zichen silently listened with an indifferent expression as Yan Xiaoshuan continued his lecture about there always being someone stronger. Fed up with the speech, Lin Zichen interrupted to ask Teacher Feng if the match could start, and the teacher reluctantly agreed. Before Yan Xiaoshuan could finish his advice, he was struck by a devastating punch to the face. His entire body was sent flying across the stage, stunning the audience. Lin Zichen casually picked his ear, thinking to himself that he finally had peace, while Yan Xiaoshuan lay unconscious far away. The crowd of students gasped in astonishment, unable to believe that Yan Xiaoshuan was defeated by a single blow. Amidst the stunning silence, a round of applause rang out. A muscular young man with fiery red hair, recognized by the crowd as the top student Chen Wuxing, was approaching. Lin Zichen looked at his new opponent, thinking to himself that the big brother had arrived to avenge the little brother. Chen Wuxing stood on the stage, cracking his knuckles while saying he hadn't expected Xiaoshuan to lose. Once again, Lin Zichen urged Teacher Feng to start the match, annoying Chen Wuxing for being interrupted. Chen Wuxing lunged forward with a powerful punch, declaring he would teach Lin Zichen a lesson. The fists of both collided, creating a fierce energy shockwave. Lin Zichen apologized, saying he was in a hurry, then launched a punch that completely overwhelmed his opponent. Chen Wuxing was sent flying into the air, his face showing extreme disbelief. All the students in the arena were once again stunned into silence, unable to utter a word. Lin Zichen looked down at the astonished crowd and called someone onto the stage. Teacher Feng pointed at himself in confusion, and Lin Zichen confirmed that he wanted to fight him. Terrified, Teacher Feng ran onto the stage and begged for mercy, while Lin Zichen thought about getting a lottery ticket for having another participant. Lin Zichen easily defeated Teacher Feng, gaining another progress point for the mission. The crowd of students cheered wildly, believing that losing to Lin Zichen was nothing to be ashamed of, and eagerly vying for the prize. Another orange-haired male student rushed up to attack, but was quickly subdued by Lin Zichen. Immediately after, a red brown-haired opponent shared the same fate, being swiftly defeated. Lin Zichen raised his fist to the sky as his opponent was knocked away, accumulating yet another victory. Finally, the system announced that he had completed the goal of defeating 1,000 opponents and received the biological trait, Survival of the Fittest. A new attribute named Primal Dominance appeared, which increases the damage dealt to other living organisms. Lin Zichen declared the challenge event over, causing the eager students to express regret. Hanlin happily linked arms with Lin Zichen as they both left the arena amidst the crowd's admiration. The students began to disperse from the arena area after the unexpected challenge session ended. Meanwhile, loud laughter echoed from the principal's office. Principal Bai smiled radiantly, congratulating Lin Zichen on winning the title of first place in the entire school. She commented that his instant defeat of Chen Wuxing proved he was still hiding his true strength. Sitting opposite her, Lin Zichen modestly admitted to hiding just a little, but Hanlin, sitting next to him, didn't believe it. The principal recalled Chen Wuxing's impressive feat of lifting 690 kilograms with one hand during the Kyoto University entrance exam. She guessed Lin Zichen could lift at least 800 kilograms, and he confirmed the measured number was 795 kilograms, thinking to himself that he couldn't let her know his real strength. The principal smiled smugly, proud that she had guessed the strength of her special student almost correctly. Lin Zichen cut her off, raised his hand, and bluntly asked when he would receive the 8,810 yuan prize money. She smiled, called him a money grubber, and quickly used her phone to transfer the money to him immediately. After the transaction was complete, the principal became serious and announced that from now on, Lin Zichen would represent the school. Lin Zichen suggested to the principal that he and Shen Qinghan wanted to use the swimming pool in the gymnasium. He added that they wanted to use the pool privately and would close it off to others. The female principal smiled and immediately agreed. Lin Zichen explained that since he didn't like being seen by others while wearing swimwear, he would cover all the cameras in the area. The female principal thought to herself, assuming Lin Zichen had impure intentions. She imagined herself and Lin Zichen being intimate in the pool. Deciding to indulge him, she said she would meet all his requests. The female principal handed Lin Zichen a key and declared that from now on, it would be his private pool. She whispered into his ear, instructing him to be careful and not cause any accidents. Lin Zichen was confused, not understanding the meaning of the word accident. Afterward, he and Hanlin walked together down the school corridor. Looking at the key, Lin Zichen thought to himself that he could finally figure out Shen Qinghan's true superpower. Hanlin suddenly called him back and asked if he could help her with something. She explained that she had signed up for a singing competition and needed someone to practice the chorus with. Hanlin invited Lin Zichen to practice singing with her tonight, and he agreed. She cheered happily and ran off, making Lin Zichen think she took the competition very seriously. He smiled, hoping the competition would help her find confidence. That night, in a building, the lights were still on in many rooms. In Hanlin's room, she was singing enthusiastically, while Lin Zichen sat listening. Meanwhile, Shen Qinghan's parents, Shen Jianye and Xu Meng, were sitting on the sofa, and the father expressed concern about a boy and a girl being alone in a room. Next door, Xu Meng scolded her husband, Shen Jianye, for interfering in the children's business. Reminded by his wife, Shen Jianye reluctantly agreed not to interfere anymore. In the next room, Lin Zichen heard their entire argument through the thin wall. He turned back and told Hanlin that the practice session was over, and they should return to studying. As he left, Lin Zichen reminded Hanlin about the swimming practice tomorrow, and told her not to forget her swimsuit. Hanlin waved goodbye as he left. After Lin Zichen left, Hanlin blushed, thinking about going to the pool. She stood in front of her closet, wondering which swimsuit to wear. On the bed, she laid out two options, a black bikini and a blue one-piece swimsuit. Hanlin picked up the bikini, shyly wondering if it was too revealing. She imagined herself and Lin Zichen happily playing in the water. Reassuring herself that only Lin Zichen would be there anyway, she decided to choose the bikini and put it in her bag. The next day, at school, Lin Zichen stood alone beside the large swimming pool. He had changed into his swimsuit and was ready for the practice session. He recalled the female principal's words that she had arranged everything smoothly. Suddenly, he heard Hanlin call his name from behind. Lin Zichen turned around and saw that Hanlin had arrived, wearing the black bikini. She happily ran toward him and apologized for making him wait. Lin Zichen reminded her to slow down and be careful not to slip, while internally, he was screaming because she was too cute. Lin Zichen, blushing, told Hanlin that they should get into the pool and start practicing. They both dove together into the clear blue water. Underwater, Lin Zichen held Hanlin's hand as they swam together. Suddenly, Hanlin widened her eyes in surprise at a strange sensation. Startled, she clung to Lin Zichen to signal that something was wrong. He immediately signaled for them both to surface. As they surfaced, he helped Hanlin and pushed her up. When they emerged, he anxiously asked Hanlin what was wrong. Hanlin frantically said that the water was passing right through her body, She raised her hand and told Lin Zichen to look. Water flowed through her palm as if it didn't exist. Lin Zichen repeated her words in disbelief, wondering why water could pass through her body. A thought suddenly struck him. Could this be the awakening of a superpower? With a serious expression, Lin Zichen asked to see her hand. He mused that, aside from the water passing through, her hand looked completely normal. He suggested they get out of the pool so he could check if other parts of her body were the same. Hanlin blushed in confusion but hesitantly agreed anyway. She lay on a lounge chair beside the pool, calling Lin Zichen's name as he began his examination. While Lin Zichen poured water from a bucket onto her, Hanlin shyly asked how much longer it would take. After 3 attempts, he concluded that there was absolutely nothing unusual about her body. Lin Zichen explained to Hanlin that it seemed only her hands currently possessed this ability. While underwater in the pool, Hanlin suddenly asked if the reason she couldn't hold her bladder when she was little was because some part of her body also allowed water to pass through. Lin Zichen instructed her that next time she felt like she couldn't hold it, she must tell him immediately. He continued, telling her to try and sense if any part of her body felt the same as her palms. Realizing his words could be misunderstood, Lin Zichen secretly thought he had almost said too much and sounded like a pervert. Hanlin joyfully realized that she wasn't a useless girl, but was actually someone with water-based superpowers. She told herself that perhaps one day, when she fully unlocked her power, she could stand side by side with Lin Zichen as the most perfect partner. In a bustling neighborhood at night, a giant advertising screen displayed the image of a cyborg. Inside a store, a female employee smiled and welcomed a customer. She placed the card reader on the counter, preparing for payment. Lin Zichen requested to buy 100 jin, 50 kilograms, of savage giant eagle meat. He gave the female employee a delivery address, causing her to reply in surprise. As Lin Zichen left, she secretly wondered who this rich young master was, spending money so lavishly. The female employee smiled, filled out the order, and hoped the customer would give her a 5-star rating. At a warehouse district, Lin Zichen thought about the 120,000 he had just received, bringing his total funds to about 210,000. He looked at the box filled with giant eagle meat, and thought that the money was more than enough to buy it. Lin Zichen placed his hand on the meat, eager to see what he would gain upon unlocking its bestiary. A massive surge of white energy erupted as the system announced that he had absorbed the life essence and completed 100% of the giant eagle bestiary. In his spiritual space, Lin Zichen stood on a surface of clear blue water, looking up at a giant eagle soaring in the sky. The eagle's energy transformed into sharp blue wings. The new power merged with the purple tentacles from the ghost squid's ability. Lin Zichen received a notification that he had successfully unlocked the eagle bestiary and gained the biological attribute Sky Eye. The system explained that Sky Eye significantly improved his vision and ability to track movement. Lin Zichen's eyes now emitted a brilliant golden light with complex pupils. Using the new ability, his vision encompassed an entire large neighborhood from above. He could easily project his gaze, focusing on a group of people crossing the street. He could even read the text message on a man's phone in the crowd and was secretly astonished by the eagle's eyesight. After testing his new ability, Lin Zichen returned home and opened the door. He saw his parents, Lin Yansheng and Zhang Wanxin, sitting on the sofa watching TV. On the screen was a news report about a level 3 gene fusion user who had mutated, causing hundreds of casualties. A scholar was speaking, vehemently arguing that gene fusion was the wrong path and turned humans into monsters. Another person countered, arguing that without gene fusion users, they couldn't fight against mutated beasts. Lin Yansheng commented to his wife that gene fusion users were like ticking time bombs, a disaster if they mutated. Zhang Wanxin reassured her husband that the state controlled it very strictly, and the probability of that was extremely low. She suggested that the more worrying issue was their loss of fertility, and Lin Yansheng agreed that one should have children before fusing. Suddenly, Zhang Wanxin was startled when she noticed someone's presence. She blushed when she saw Lin Zichen had returned, quickly welcomed him, and worried if he had heard their conversation. Zhang Wanxin awkwardly changed the subject, saying that since their son was home, they should eat dinner first. During the meal, Lin Zichen announced that the school would hold a singing competition tomorrow, and Shen Qinghan had also registered to participate. Hearing the news, Zhang Wanxin excitedly declared that the whole family must go cheer for Shen Qinghan, whom she regarded as her own daughter. Lin Zichen silently nodded in agreement while continuing his meal. At the venue, an enthusiastic crowd was gathered in front of the magnificent stage. Among the audience, Lin Zichen's parents held up glowing cheer signs for Shen Qinghan. In an empty classroom, Lin Zichen was preparing to help Shen Qinghan with her makeup. He carefully used a brush to apply powder to her cheeks. Shen Qinghan shyly asked why Lin Zichen kept staring at her. He smiled and replied that it was because she was very beautiful. Overwhelmed by the compliment, Shen Qinghan blushed deeply and was awkwardly speechless. A friend suddenly appeared at the door, teasing that the two of them were showing affection. Shen Qinghan hurriedly explained that she only asked for help because she wasn't good at makeup, but the friend continued to tease her. An illustration showed that Lin Zichen was a true makeup expert, as having extra skills was never a bad thing. The friend announced that there were only 2 acts left until their turn and quickly left. The classroom door closed, leaving the two of them in private. Lin Zichen suggested taking Shen Qinghan outside to prepare. She stood up, her whole body tense and anxious in the evening gown. Shen Qinghan timidly tugged at Lin Zichen's sleeve, seemingly wanting to say something. Suddenly, she realized in horror that she couldn't hold it anymore, and had wet the floor. With tears welling up, she frantically asked what to do because it was almost her and Chushin's turn to go on stage. She sobbed desperately, afraid that she had ruined the performance and would be hated by her co-performer. Lin Zichen comforted Shen Qinghan, advising her to stop crying, or her makeup would be ruined, but she was still extremely flustered. The two stood in an empty classroom. The situation seemed hopeless. Suddenly, Lin Zichen had an idea. He decided to use the white window curtain. He quickly found a pair of scissors on the teacher's desk. Without hesitation, Lin Zichen yanked the curtain down. He spread the fabric on the desk and began cutting skillfully. Shen Qinghan watched, stunned, tears still clinging to her lashes. She called his name while Lin Zichen was urgently shaping the new dress. He finished the dress and handed it to her, urging her to quickly go to the restroom to change. However, Shen Qinghan blushed and suggested changing right there, telling Lin Zichen to turn away. Lin Zichen immediately flushed crimson at the bold suggestion. He agreed and turned his back while Shen Qinghan began taking off her dress. She quickly removed the ruined black evening gown. Lin Zichen stood still, trying not to notice the rustling sounds behind him. He felt extremely awkward as Shen Qinghan was changing right behind his back. Shen Qinghan put on the new white dress made from the curtain and adjusted her outfit. Once finished, she called Lin Zichen to turn back around. She thanked him and confessed that after a good cry, she felt less anxious. Lin Zichen gently placed his hand on her head, wishing her a successful performance. On the brightly lit stage, the host announced the winner of the school singing competition. It was Li Chuxin and Shen Qinghan, who hugged each other amidst the resounding cheers of the audience. In the audience seats, Lin Zichen and his father, Lin Yansheng, smiled proudly and applauded. Meanwhile, back at school, a chubby male student was horrified to discover that the classroom curtains had been shredded. It turned out Lin Zichen had stood in the empty classroom, treating it as compensation for ruining the curtains. He secretly thought about compensating for the sacrificed curtains. Suddenly, a system notification appeared, stating that he had reached the milestone of completing 1,000 cooperative missions and received the biological attribute, social animal. Lin Zichen smirked, considering this an unexpected reward. After the competition, Shen Qinghan became famous, admired by female classmates who invited her out. She happily agreed. The competition had helped her regain her lost confidence. Thanks to her renewed confidence, her martial arts training gradually stabilized. As for Lin Zichen, he also achieved success by winning the championship cup for Shanghai High School after 5 years of waiting. Amidst the cheers of his family and friends, he had won countless martial arts championships like this, filling an entire display shelf. Afterward, he signed a sponsorship contract and became an ambassador for Hiyu's family martial arts gym. With the advance payment from the sponsor and income from writing novels, he had accumulated 900,000, enough to unlock the next bestiary. He met the butcher again, and she happily handed him a box of goods she had specially selected. Inside was the meat of the stealth lizard, a species famous for its ability to hide. Lin Zichen immediately absorbed the life essence from the meat, completing 100% of the stealth lizard bestiary. The system announced that he had successfully unlocked it, and received the new biological attribute, natural camouflage. This ability allowed him to lower his life force, to reduce his presence, and conceal his biological level. Lin Zichen secretly thought about the new natural camouflage ability. It could both help him hide and conceal his biological level for surprise attacks. Afterward, he decided to go buy the cake his mother had requested, and then head home. While walking down the street, a voice suddenly demanded he stop. Lin Zichen turned around and saw a red-haired woman being escorted by 2 cyborg soldiers. One of the soldiers, the one with mechanical legs, called his name in surprise. He recognized him as his former senior, Zhang Kai. Lin Zichen curiously looked down at Zhang Kai's claw-like mechanical legs. Zhang Kai explained that because he couldn't get into high school, he rebelled by street racing, got into an accident, and had to have his legs amputated. Fortunately, he joined the Mecha God Group's enhancement program and became a cyborg. When Lin Zichen asked about the female prisoner, another soldier stated that she was a remnant of the Rat God cult. A teammate urged Zhang Kai to stop talking so they could continue their journey. Zhang Kai quickly said goodbye to Lin Zichen and ran off. Lin Zichen watched them go, thinking about how the Mecha God group had easily captured someone the Security Bureau had been hunting for so long. He concluded that this Mecha God group should not be underestimated. Just then, Lin Zichen's phone rang. His mother called to ask about the cake, and he replied that he was on his way to buy it. The call brought back memories of his and Shen Qinghan's joint birthday party, hosted by both families. At the 18th birthday party, they blew out the candles on the large cake together. Afterward, Lin Zichen and Shen Qinghan exchanged birthday gifts. The memory was interrupted by a loud noise, as if something had been slammed hard onto a table. An unexpected earthquake interrupted the birthday party in the memory. In the present, Lin Zichen felt that something was wrong with this tremor. Meanwhile, deep underground, countless creatures with glowing red eyes were stirring. On television, an announcer reported that the 4.2 magnitude earthquake was just a normal minor tremor. After breakfast, Lin Zichen put on his uniform and greeted his parents before heading to school. Outside, Shen Qinghan was already waiting to ask him to walk to school together. On the way, they talked about becoming adults and the upcoming college entrance exam, which made Shen Qinghan anxious. Lin Zichen recalled using his savings to unlock the Void Eel Bestiary. The system notified him that he had absorbed a large amount of life essence and completed 100% of the bestiary. The spectral image of the savage giant eagle soaring above the void eels appeared. Thanks to this, he received the new biological attribute, Danger Sense, which could help counter sneak attacks. He decided to go to the shopping center to test his new ability. Inside, he realized that most people were just ordinary individuals at level 1 or level 2. At a supermarket, Lin Zichen planned to unlock another bestiary. He aimed for the undead slug meat to gain self-healing ability, but the price of 100,000 yuan was too expensive. At the Nanjiang Provincial Department of Education, a meeting was taking place in the director's office. A woman with antlers named Yuan Dongji was listening to a report on the educational achievements of the cities. A male assistant concluded his presentation in front of her. Yuan Dongji calmly took a sip of coffee and thanked him for his hard work. She asked about the current situation inside Source Zone, No. 36, and the assistant reported that it had stabilized. Yuan Dongji allowed her assistant to leave, saying she had no further tasks for him. After the door closed, the assistant departed. Alone in the office, Yuan Dongji mused that many years had passed since she last accepted a disciple. She stood before the large window, looking out at the tropical beach scenery outside. The scene shifted to a peaceful beach with gentle waves lapping the shore. The martial arts college entrance examination lasted a total of 9 days, starting with the theoretical test in the morning and the physical examination in the afternoon of the first day. A candidate demonstrated their strength in the weightlifting portion under the supervision of the invigilator. From the 2nd to the 8th day, candidates would participate in a week-long practical combat assessment in a wilderness zone. On the 9th day, there would be an aptitude test for gene fusion and mechanical modification. Today, June 7th, was the first day of the college entrance examination. Lin Zichen and Shen Qinghan walked hand in hand into the school grounds. Shen Qinghan confessed to Lin Zichen that she was very nervous, even afraid that she might wet herself during the exam. Lin Zichen smiled gently to reassure her. He pulled Shen Qinghan into a tight hug, softly telling her not to worry. Lin Zichen whispered that her theoretical knowledge was solid and that she was already wearing a diaper, so she just needed to do her best. Encouraged, Shen Qinghan promised to try her hardest and hoped he would too. In the examination room, Lin Zichen calmly worked on his written test. He finished the test quickly and decided to use the remaining time to think about the plot for his novel. After the exam ended, Lin Zichen saw Shen Qinghan looking sad and wondered if she had performed poorly. He approached to comfort her, but Shen Qinghan looked up and said that she had actually done very well. Lin Zichen wondered why Shen Qinghan looked so pale. She shyly confessed that she needed to use the restroom and hurried away, while Lin Zichen reminded her that the physical test was about to begin. Afterward, Lin Zichen's final results were announced. He lifted a 950-kilogram barbell with just one hand. Other students were astonished, discussing his extraordinary achievements, running 100 meters in 5.12 seconds and jumping 4.91 meters high. When Shen Qinghan returned in her gym clothes, Lin Zichen asked about her results. She happily reported that she ran 100 meters in 9.32 seconds, jumped 1.62 meters high, and lifted 125 kilograms. Although she still couldn't compare to him, Lin Zichen patted her head and praised her for being one of the top female students, making Shen Qinghan giggle happily. Just then, He Yu ran over to report that the written test results were out. He Yu said he scored 80 points and asked for his two friends' scores, causing Shen Qinghan to quickly check her phone. She cheered excitedly upon seeing her score of 82 points, which was even higher than He Yu's. Both then curiously turned to ask for Lin Zichen's score. Lin Zichen calmly showed his phone, revealing that he had achieved a perfect score of 100, forcing his friends to admit he truly was a monster. On the way home, Shen Qinghan pondered the week-long practical combat assessment in the wilderness that would begin tomorrow. Lin Zichen held her hand and promised to stay by her side to protect her, and she agreed to stick close to him. In a dark room, a man reported that the practical combat assessment would begin tomorrow. A man wearing a plague doctor mask handed him a box and instructed him to use his identity as a safety officer to control 10 geniuses. The masked man revealed that inside the box were 10 demon seeds. He explained that they could assist with the mission. The masked man promised to nominate him to become a full member, but the officer replied that what he wanted was an evolutionary fruit. The masked man criticized his narrow vision, explaining that joining the organization would provide the opportunity to evolve into a higher life form. After being persuaded, the safety officer decided to prioritize becoming an official member of the organization. He admitted that it was a more worthwhile choice. Meanwhile, a convoy of buses carrying the candidates was heading into the dense forest, the location for the practical combat test. On the bus, Lin Zichen woke up Shen Qinghan, who had fallen asleep on his shoulder, as they had arrived. Shen Qinghan woke up groggily, surprised that they had arrived. The two, along with other candidates from Gate 9, began to disembark according to instructions. At the assembly point, the test rules were announced. Candidates must find scorecards hidden in the forest, even on wild beasts, and calling for rescue would result in immediate disqualification. More dangerous mutant beasts would yield more points, and the final result would also depend on recorded performance scores, with the total points only equaling half the number of candidates. The test encouraged both cooperation and competition, allowing for the sharing or snatching of scorecards, and would begin in 1 hour. Immediately, a chubby male student boasted about his family background, and another muscular male student claiming to be a top student began openly recruiting teammates. A strict blonde female proctor appeared, warning that such public team formation was forbidden, causing the male students to quickly apologize. Meanwhile, a group of female students surrounded Lin Zichen, asking for his protection, but were flatly refused. Another young man approached, using hunger as an excuse to ask to buy food from Lin Zichen. Lin Zichen immediately tossed him some food and told him not to worry about paying. The young man, named Hong Junping, an excellent student, offered to join Lin Zichen's team to repay the favor. However, Lin Zichen refused the offer once again. Hong Junping cheerfully accepted, thanked him for the food, and left. Shen Qinghan commented that Hong Junping's actions were strange, since there were many stalls around. Lin Zichen explained that his real goal wasn't the food, but to approach her. Shen Qinghan blushed upon realizing she had just been flirted with, and Lin Zichen took her hand, saying it was time for them to set off. Lin Zichen decided not to venture deep into the forest immediately so that Shen Qinghan could get used to the environment. Instead, the two began searching for scorecards in the forest's periphery. To search effectively, Lin Zichen activated his Sky Eye ability. His vision was amplified, allowing him to scan a large area for targets. He quickly spotted a scorecard on a treetop and directed Shen Qinghan to retrieve it. Shen Qinghan happily held up her first scorecard and reported her success to Lin Zichen. With Sky Eye, Lin Zichen continuously pointed out the locations of many other scorecards. Before long, they had collected a considerable stack of scorecards. Shen Qinghan joyfully hugged Lin Zichen, amazed by his abilities. Suddenly, a familiar voice rang out, commenting on the coincidence of the encounter. Hong Junping appeared before the two again and greeted them. He boasted that he had collected 25 points and claimed to be someone who knew how to repay favors, but in reality, he just wanted to approach Shen Qinghan. Hong Junping suggested teaming up and splitting the cards evenly, but Shen Qinghan merely gave him a cold look. Lin Zichen flatly refused, demanding that Hong Junping hand over all his scorecards if he truly wanted to repay the favor. Hong Junping was stunned by Lin Zichen's brazen demand. His anger flared, and he gritted his teeth, warning Lin Zichen that he had made a huge mistake. Hong Junping lunged to attack, shouting that Lin Zichen had messed with the wrong person. Lin Zichen calmly covered one eye, smirked, and replied that Hong Junping was the one who had messed with the wrong person. He easily blocked the attack and countered with a punch straight to Hong Junping's abdomen. Hong Junping doubled over in pain, spitting blood after taking the full force of Lin Zichen's punch. Lin Zichen indifferently thanked him, put his arm around Shen Qinghan, and walked away, leaving Hong Junping lying motionless on the ground. Shen Qinghan worriedly asked about Hong Junping's condition, but Lin Zichen reassured her that he had only used a very light touch. Afterward, Lin Zichen continued to help Shen Qinghan find more scorecards. She easily lifted a giant boulder. He also showed her how to use a bamboo stick as a weapon to hunt a wild boar, instructing her to aim accurately and strike quickly and powerfully. The two even picked and ate fruit together in the forest. When ambushed by another group of candidates, they fought together to teach those people a lesson. Lin Zichen and Shen Qinghan walked away hand in hand, leaving the ambushing group scattered across the ground. When it rained and both were tired, they found shelter and rested, with Shen Qinghan falling asleep on Lin Zichen's shoulder. They had reached the central area of the forest, which was warned to be the territory of mutant beasts. However, upon arrival, they only saw splatters of blood, signs of a battle that had just ended, and no beasts remained. Shen Qinghan expressed regret, thinking that if they had arrived earlier, Lin Zichen could have claimed the title of genius. Lin Zichen patted her head to comfort her, saying that the title wasn't important, which made her blush. He decided that it was time for them to return. Lin Zichen secretly thought that not killing the beast was also good, as there were cameras everywhere, and he wouldn't have been able to absorb its life essence. Immediately after the practical assessment concluded, the gene fusion compatibility test began on an island. The buses transported the students to the Gene Research Institute on the island. The students were asked to get off the buses and line up to enter the testing area. Inside the laboratory, students had their blood drawn one by one, while a proctor called the next person. While waiting, Shen Qinghan curiously asked Lin Zichen about the nearby test tubes. He explained that those were the gene reagents of the flow cloud jellyfish, a type of mutant beast whose genes have high compatibility with the human body. A female medical staff member explained that the testing method involves taking fresh blood samples directly on the spot. The blood is then injected into a reagent made from flow cloud jellyfish to trigger a chemical reaction. Based on the intensity of the reaction, it will be determined whether the candidate is suitable for gene fusion. Yu looked worried, saying he really hoped to pass because he didn't want to take the mechanical modification test. A blonde female student agreed, saying she heard that the test to become a cyborg was more painful than childbirth. Other students were also anxious, and Yu clasped his hands, praying he would pass the test. When it was Shen Qinghan's turn, a medical staff member took her blood sample for testing. After completion, the entire class was informed that the results would be available in about an hour. While waiting, Yu was delighted to see his result was 8%, while Huang Tianxing was disappointed to only get 4%. Li Shutong also cheered happily upon seeing his result of 6%, just enough to pass. Lin Zichen calculated silently, comparing it to the 16% score of the Kyoto prodigy, and confidently estimated he could achieve around 20%. Shen Qinghan couldn't bear the stress. She turned to Lin Zichen and said she was too nervous. Lin Zichen reassured her, but inwardly worried that if her score was too low, they wouldn't be able to stay together. In another corner, a purple-haired female student happily shouted that she achieved 10%, qualifying her for both top universities. Meanwhile, the blonde female student was also surprised to get 10%. While another male student was disappointed to only score 11%. Seeing that others had their results, Lin Zichen urged Shen Qinghan to check hers immediately. Shen Qinghan was too scared. She suggested Lin Zichen check his result first, then check hers for her. Lin Zichen agreed, and opened his phone to check his own result. His phone screen displayed Lin Zichen's gene fusion compatibility result as 15%. Shen Qinghan joyfully hugged him, exclaiming that with this score, he was definitely the top scorer in the province. Lin Zichen mused that his 15% result was still lower than the Kyoto prodigies, indicating that physical strength wasn't the only factor. He turned to his worried friend, Shen Qinghan, and told her it was her turn. Another female student comforted Shen Qinghan, saying that even a bottom-ranked student like her got 10%, so Shen Qinghan would surely do better. Suddenly, Lin Zichen showed extreme astonishment. His phone screen unexpectedly updated his gene compatibility result to 21%, stunning all three of them. Meanwhile, at the Nanjiang Provincial Department of Education building, an important meeting was taking place. A group of education officials sat around a table, presided over by a powerful woman named Yuan Dongji. Yuan Dongji announced that the gene compatibility results from all schools were in. The large screen displayed Lin Zichen's result of 15%, and a council member was surprised that this year's top scorer came from Shanghai High School. The other officials immediately congratulated Principal Bai of Shanghai High School, who was secretly proud of her student. Just as everyone thought Lin Zichen was the top scorer, Shen Qinghan's result caused a sensation. The screen updated Shen Qinghan's name with a 21% compatibility rate, shocking the entire council, who wondered if that number was even humanly possible. Principal Bai was stunned, as in her memory, Shen Qinghan had always been a very ordinary student. Yuan Dongji immediately turned to ask about the background of this female student. Principal Bai nervously reported that Shen Qinghan's performance was always average and suspected there might have been an error in the results. Yuan Dongji closed her eyes in thought, realizing there was no other option. She stood up abruptly, deciding she would personally go to the location to verify the matter. Back in the examination room, the other students were also buzzing about the 21% figure and suspected a mistake. Shen Qinghan herself couldn't believe it. She turned to Lin Zichen and asked if there must have been an error. Lin Zichen calmly took her hand and affirmed that he believed the result was accurate, surprising Shen Qinghan even more. Lin Zichen explained that her body naturally had a high affinity for water, and the monster used in the test was also water-based. Shen Qinghan happily realized she was a genius with high compatibility for water-type monster genes. She happily thought that she could finally be worthy of Xiao Chen, and he smiled and congratulated her. Suddenly, a scream rang out, causing both of them to jump and turn toward the commotion. A giant wave suddenly surged up, and a woman stood commandingly atop it. The astonished students called the person a dragon maiden, a horned woman standing on the crest of the wave. The crowd panicked, wondering if she was a heretic, and intended to flood the place. The woman gently stepped down from the wave onto the ground with steady footing. A group of medical staff bowed and addressed her as Vice Principal Yuan Dongji of Shanghai University, a member of the 1,000-year-old Yuan clan. They whispered that the Yuan clan once slayed dragons and fused their genes, explaining her ability to control the ocean waves. Yuan Dongji approached and directly asked someone if they were Shen Qinghan. Shen Qinghan timidly confirmed her identity. Yuan Dongzi immediately ordered a staff member to take Shen Qinghan's blood sample 3 times for retesting. After having her blood drawn, Shen Qinghan sat complaining to her friends that her arm felt numb. A medical staff member came and asked Shen Qinghan to accompany him for a moment. Shen Qinghan timidly walked into a large office where Yuan Dongji was waiting. Yuan Dongji turned her chair around and announced that the results were in. She stated in astonishment that all 3 tests yielded a 21% result, which Shen Qinghan dared not believe. Yuan Dongji smiled and got straight to the point, saying she wanted to take Shen Qinghan as her disciple. Shen Qinghan was completely stunned by the sudden offer. Yuan Dongji explained that if she became her disciple, riding the waves would become easy. She asserted that in the future, Shen Qinghan would also be able to do it easily. Confused by the sudden offer, Shen Qinghan asked for time to think and consult with Lin Zichen. Yuan Dongji dismissed the idea, stating that this would only be beneficial and not harmful. She introduced herself as the director of the Department of Education and vice principal of Shanghai University, then insisted that Shen Qinghan should study there. Yuan Dongji moved closer, intimidatingly asking Shen Qinghan if she had any objections, causing the girl to stammer a refusal in fear. Satisfied, Yuan Dongji smiled and suggested they become friends on WeChat. Shen Qinghan secretly lamented, feeling completely swept up by the situation. Yuan Dongji casually mentioned that she had another disciple, who would be Shen Qinghan's senior sister. She said she had sent a photo of the senior sister and would arrange for them to meet later. Shen Qinghan opened her phone and saw a picture of a silver-haired girl holding a spear, standing on a bizarre flower. She immediately recognized the person in the photo as Luo Ganshui, her former classmate. Shen Qinghan quickly asked her master for the senior sister's name. Yuan Dongji revealed the person's name was Luo Ganshui, and asked in surprise if Shen Qinghan knew her. Shen Qinghan explained that she had an elementary school friend named Bai Shui, who looked exactly like Luo Ganshui but had transferred schools a long time ago. Yuan Dongji asserted that such a coincidence was impossible. Changing the subject, Yuan Dongzhi said that Shen Qinghan's gene compatibility was very special, and that she would perform a full-body examination. A golden light emanated from Yuan Dongzhi's hand as she placed it on Shen Qinghan's chest to begin the examination. Yuan Dongzhi suddenly showed extreme astonishment at her discovery. With a serious expression, she muttered that something was very strange. Shen Qinghan anxiously asked if there was a problem with her body, but Yuan Dongzhi explained that her normalcy was the abnormality given her 21% compatibility level. To protect Shen Qinghan from those with malicious intent, Yuan Dongzhi decided to announce her score as only 16%. After giving her instructions, Yuan Dongzhi looked at her phone and said it was late, telling Shen Qinghan she could go home. Shen Qinghan obediently left, not forgetting to bow and call Yuan Dongzhi master. The room door closed, ending the fateful meeting. Immediately afterward, Yuan Dongzhi sat down and made an important call. She reported to her father that she had accepted a disciple with 21% compatibility, who also happened to be Lin Zichen's childhood friend. On the other end of the line, Yuan Dongzhi's father assessed that this disciple would bring unimaginable benefits in the future. He instructed his daughter to keep the new disciple's astonishing talent an absolute secret, and she agreed. On the way home, Lin Zichen gave Shen Qinghan a ride and wondered about her suddenly acquiring a master. He advised her to just go with the flow, as having a powerful master wasn't a bad thing. Lin Zichen reassured her that if her master turned out to be evil, she could certainly end the relationship herself once she became strong enough. As soon as they got home, the two were welcomed by their mothers, Zhang Wanxin and Xu Meng, who invited them out to celebrate at a restaurant. On the way, The mothers proudly boasted that Shen Qinghan had topped the exam and that both children would attend the same university again. At the restaurant, the two families happily raised their glasses to celebrate Shen Qinghan's first place and Lin Zichen's second-place achievements in the exam. After the party, the two families said goodbye in the parking lot and promised to meet again often. That night, when the moon was high, a knock echoed at Lin Zichen's house. Zhang Wanxin was surprised and opened the door. Standing before her was Shen Qinghan in a nightgown, blushing shyly, prompting Zhang Wanxin to tease her. Shen Qinghan awkwardly explained to Zhang Wanxin that she had something important to discuss privately with Lin Zichen. She quickly excused herself from Zhang Wanxin and ran straight to his room. Zhang Wanxin smiled mischievously, thinking to herself that Shen Qinghan was about to confess her feelings to her son. Standing outside the room, Shen Qinghan called Lin Zichen and said she had something very important to tell him. Lin Zichen, wearing his pajamas, opened the door and asked what was going on. Shen Qinghan entered the room and revealed that the matter concerned the master she had just taken on today, which surprised Lin Zichen. Sitting on the bed, she recounted that her master had performed a full-body examination, but found nothing unusual. She added that even the phenomenon of water leakage was not detected during the examination. Lin Zichen was secretly astonished, thinking that Shen Qinghan's body was more mysterious than he imagined. If even Yuan Dongji couldn't uncover the secret, he advised her to keep this matter confidential, as they couldn't predict the consequences if it were revealed. Shen Qinghan obediently agreed, deciding they would slowly investigate together once they both became stronger. She suddenly remembered and mentioned that her master had revealed she also had a senior sister. Shen Qinghan showed Lin Zichen the photo on her phone, saying she had mistaken the person in the picture for Bai Shui. Lin Zichen conceded that they looked similar, but their temperaments were completely different. He looked closely at the photo of the mysterious senior sister and asked Shen Qinghan about the location where it was taken. Shen Qinghan replied that she didn't know and would text her master to ask. The reply message from Yuan Dongzhu vaguely revealed the location name as the Land of Origin. Shen Qinghan disappointedly told Lin Zichen that she couldn't ask anything further. Lin Zichen decided that they should temporarily set the matter aside. The two lay on the bed together, each silently looking at their phone. After a period of silence, Shen Qinghan suddenly turned toward him. She curiously asked Lin Zichen if men liked women who wore qipao cheongsam. Lin Zichen thought to himself that she was probably influenced by her master, Yuan Dongji. He blushed, imagining Shen Qinghan in a qipao, and admitted that it would suit her, depending on the wearer. Cornered, Lin Zichen awkwardly confessed that he liked it. Shen Qinghan continued by asking about his preference for different types of stockings, which flustered Lin Zichen. Pinned down, he reluctantly replied that he preferred black or white. Immediately, Shen Qinghan smiled and announced that she had ordered both a qipao and stockings online, leaving Lin Zichen dumbfounded. Just then, there was a knock on the door. Lin Zichen's mother, Zhang Wanxin, walked in and cheerfully said that Shen Qinghan's mother had sent over her personal belongings and that she would be sleeping over tonight. Shen Qinghan blushed in embarrassment, saying she hadn't asked her mother to do that. Zhang Wanxin playfully reassured them that they were both grown up now, then left. The door closed, leaving the two of them in awkward silence. The atmosphere became extremely uncomfortable as both of them blushed and didn't know what to say. Shen Qinghan resigned herself to the situation, deciding to go change clothes and then sleep. When she opened the bag of belongings, she was surprised to find a strange item. She was horrified when she realized it was a box of condoms. Shen Qinghan screamed in shame. She frantically wondered why her mother had put that item in the bag. Overwhelmed with embarrassment, Shen Qinghan rushed out of the room to change, leaving Lin Zichen sitting on the bed, completely bewildered by what had happened. Lin Zichen carried Shen Qinghan on his bicycle, reminding her to hold on tighter as he started off. Both of them had been accepted into Shanghai University's evolution department. Shen Qinghan obeyed, wrapping her arms tightly around Lin Zichen's waist. Lin Zichen cheered excitedly and started cycling, as, like him, Shen Qinghan had also signed a contract with Heiyu's martial arts academy. Today, the two were on their way to the martial arts academy to participate in a promotional event. Suddenly, Lin Zichen was startled when a group of strangers unexpectedly appeared and blocked their path. A man leading the group asked if Lin Zichen was the student, Lin Zichen. Lin Zichen stopped the bike and cautiously asked for their identities. The man introduced himself as Liu Chuanwu, the dean of the martial arts academy at Shanghai University. Liu Chuanwu stated that he was here today representing the Pavilion of Heavenly Beings. Lin Zichen pondered, recalling that the Pavilion of Heavenly Beings was a conservative organization that opposed gene fusion and mechanical modification. Liu Chuanwu offered Lin Zichen an invitation to join the organization, but he coldly told them to get out of the way. Undeterred, Liu Chuanwu placed a hand on Lin Zichen's shoulder, holding him back and suggesting they talk for a moment. He presented a card and promised attractive benefits, reluctantly persuading Lin Zichen to follow him. At a tea house, Liu Chuanwu explained that the Pavilion of Heavenly Beings researches how to unlock the potential of pure-blooded humans without relying on external forces. Their goal is to break the limits of ordinary people to evolve into high-level, rare, and even legendary beings. Liu Chuanwu said they had achieved some success and handed Lin Zichen his phone to watch a video for a better understanding. In the video, a man with black wings was confronting a gigantic gene fusionist, and Liu Chuanwu explained that their martial artists could defeat even opponents like that. Lin Zichen was astonished to realize that the winged man was Wu Tiancheng, the one who had single-handedly destroyed the rat god cult. In the video clip, Wu Tiancheng soared high into the air, leaving his massive opponent on the fighting stage. Then, Wu Tiancheng unleashed a rain of feathers, sharp as daggers, toward his enemy. The giant muscular fighter braced himself, his body covered in wounds caused by the feathers. Wu Tiancheng landed on the arena, his legs transformed into sharp bird talons. Enraged, the massive fighter lunged forward and threw a powerful punch. However, Wu Tiancheng easily dodged the attack. Immediately, he countered with a vicious hook kick to the opponent's chin, sending him flying into the air. The video ended, and Liu Chuanwu narrated that pure-blooded humans utilizing body refinement techniques are the future of humanity. Lin Zichen looked skeptical, wondering if the video was fake. Liu Chuanwu asserted that the video was completely authentic and invited him to watch future matches. Lin Zichen asked why the video wasn't posted online, and Liu Chuanwu revealed that the authorities prohibited it. He explained that the authorities believe raising the biological level is the only path and do not value their methods. Liu Chuanwu snapped his chopsticks, frustrated that without widespread promotion, it would be difficult to achieve a breakthrough. He turned to Lin Zichen, saying that a genius like him wouldn't be stuck at a low level, but could evolve into a high-level being. Lin Zichen thought to himself, noticing the contradiction when Liu Chuanwu claimed to have trained for 50 years but looked only middle-aged. Liu Chuanwu revealed that he was nearly 100 years old, and his youthful appearance was thanks to the body refinement technique. He told Lin Zichen to look up information about him online if he didn't believe him. The search results confirmed Liu Chuanwu was born in 1929, leading Lin Zichen to wonder if his own parents could cultivate this technique. He continued to look further into the dean's past. Online information showed that Liu Chuanwu was once the young master of the renowned Liu martial arts family. However, the family declined when the era of gene fusion began because they refused to use monster genes. Ultimately, Liu Chuanwu was abandoned by his own wife and children because they chose the path of gene fusion. Lin Zichen looked at his phone, thinking that Shen Qinghan would never leave him because of their childhood bond. Suddenly, he was astonished by a piece of information that popped up. The screen displayed Liu Chuanwu's profile, revealing that his ex-wife was Yuan Dongji, Shen Qinghan's master, and that his children had all passed away. Lin Zichen looked up at Liu Chuanwu, thinking that this person truly could not be underestimated. Liu Chuanwu declared that his youthful appearance at nearly 100 years old was proof of the potential of pure-blooded humans, and that was why the Pavilion of Heavenly Beings existed. He passionately explained that heavenly beings, Tianren, meant humans who defy fate and conquer even the heavens. He argued that gene fusion users only borrow power from monsters and can never surpass them, which will ultimately lead to destruction. Similarly, cyborgs also rely on materials derived from monsters, so they cannot overcome that limitation. Liu Chuanwu clarified that the Pavilion of Heavenly Beings does not oppose the other two paths, but only opposes complete dependence on them. He solemnly extended his hand, inviting Lin Zichen to join the Pavilion of Heavenly Beings, to work together for the future of humanity. Liu Chuanwu was certain that Lin Zichen could become the first pure-blooded human to break the limits of the ordinary level. Lin Zichen calmly inquired about the nature of the body refinement technique he had mentioned. Liu Chuanwu explained that it was an ancient relic's blood refinement technique, using qi and blood to temper the body and enhance combat power. He described that upon cultivating to the highest realm, one could achieve an extraordinary body, strong enough to tear apart giant monsters with bare hands. However, this technique could only be cultivated by pure-blooded humans, not gene fusion users or cyborgs. Therefore, he was convinced that the future belonged only to pure-blooded humans. Liu Chuanwu once again invited Lin Zichen to join the Pavilion of Heavenly Beings and follow the path of the pure-blooded. Lin Zichen refused, saying he needed to learn more about the concept of pure-blooded humans first. Liu Chuanwu slammed the table anxiously, arguing that it would be a waste if Lin Zichen didn't try this path given his extraordinary physical talent. He leaned close to Lin Zichen and asserted that even the provincial top scorer with 16% gene fusion compatibility was nothing compared to him, as Liu Chuanwu declared that the gene fusion top scorer wasn't worth a single hair on Lin Zichen's head. Shen Qinghan, who was drinking water, choked. With fervent enthusiasm, Liu Chuanwu insisted that Lin Zichen, who topped the physical examination, was the true top scorer of Nanjiang province. He continued that if Lin Zichen chose the pure-blooded path, he would surely crush that top scorer girl in the future. Shen Qinghan thought irritably, wondering why she was being dragged into this. Lin Zichen raised his hand, trying to interrupt Liu Chuanwu. He calmly pointed out that the provincial top scorer with 16% gene fusion compatibility was Shen Qinghan, causing her to awkwardly greet him while Liu Chuanwu broke out in a cold sweat. Lin Zichen decided to end the conversation, saying it was late, and they had other things to do. He stood up, took Shen Qinghan's hand, thanked Liu Chuanwu for the phone and the milk tea, and bid farewell. Desperate, Liu Chuanwu reached out to stop him, pleading for him to just try joining for 6 months. As the two turned and walked away, he shouted that the Pavilion of Heavenly Beings would pay double any benefits offered by the Evolution University. Seeing that they didn't stop, Liu Chuanwu yelled louder, offering to triple the benefits. This offer finally made Lin Zichen turn his head in surprise. Immediately, Lin Zichen sat back down at the table and said that he had actually always admired the ideals of the Pavilion of Heavenly Beings. He passionately declared that he had decided to dedicate his talent to the Pavilion of Heavenly Beings for the future of pure-blooded humanity. Liu Chuanwu sighed in relief, but inwardly panicked as he calculated the enormous cost of his promise to triple the benefits. After the agreement was settled, Lin Zichen said he had a question. He asked Liu Chuanwu if he knew about the land of origin, which astonished the man, who hadn't expected him to know about the place. Liu Chuanwu seriously explained that the place is believed to be the source of life. He revealed that all the mutant monsters existing today originated from there. As images of hideous monsters appeared, Lin Zichen pondered, realizing that humanity already knew about these anomalies, and might even have access to the land of origin. Lin Zichen asked if the monster meat at the mall also came from the source land, and Liu Chuanwu confirmed it. When asked about videos, Liu Chuanwu explained that all electronic devices stop working there, so all records must rely on drawings. Lin Zichen suddenly realized that the image of the silver-haired female warrior he had seen was not a photograph, but a drawing. Just then, an incoming call interrupted their conversation. Lin Zichen answered the phone, and was urged by a friend to quickly attend the promotional event at the martial arts hall. He stood up, told Liu Chuanwu that he had something urgent to attend to, and said goodbye for now. Before Lin Zichen left, Liu Chuanwu handed him a manual on blood refinement technique. He explained that to practice, he needed to reach at least ordinary level 4th rank. Liu Chuanwu believed that Lin Zichen was close to that level, and could begin cultivation after his evolution. However, Lin Zichen casually replied that he was already at level 6 and would start practicing as soon as he got home. In a gym in another building, a woman was training. She used a giant sledgehammer to strike a sandbag. Afterward, she delivered a powerful high kick. Liu Chuanwu stood nearby, humming happily as he watched her train. The woman named Yu Yan stopped and asked why the dean was so happy. He proudly boasted that he had successfully recruited the person with the highest physical score in the province, which astonished Yu Yan. When Yu Yan pressed him on how, Liu Chuanwu showed off Lin Zichen's contact information, and initially lied that it was due to his personal charm. He confessed that he had promised Lin Zichen 3 times the benefits offered by the Evolution Academy, causing Yu Yan to panic because they were already heavily in debt. Liu Chuanwu casually stated that he had arranged meetings with 3 wealthy ladies to solve the financial problem, making Yu Yan even more helpless. He then asked Yu Yan how long it took her to sense and control her vital energy, and she replied that it took 1 week to sense it and 2 months to control it. Liu Chuanwu recalled Yu Yan's talent, saying that even he, a genius, took 2 weeks to sense vital energy. Yu Yan sadly replied that ever since she gave up gene fusion to join the Tianren Pavilion, she had been mocked for being unable to evolve. Liu Chuanwu placed a hand on her shoulder, encouraging her to ignore them, as she would defeat them all in a few years. Yu Yan lamented that after 2 body refinements she still hadn't opened any acupoints, then asked how long he thought it would take Lin Zichen to sense vital energy. Based on his astonishing stats, Liu Chuanwu predicted it would take about 10 days. Yu Yan immediately cheered up, eagerly declaring that she must personally mentor this genius junior. That night, a quiet scene enveloped the dormitory area. Lin Zichen sat cross-legged on his bed, beginning his cultivation according to the blood refinement manual. He opened his eyes, thinking to himself that sensing vital energy was incredibly easy. It had only taken him 3 seconds. Next, he reread the book to prepare for the control step, and began the body refinement process. He decided to start with his right arm, and a system notification appeared, confirming that his skin durability and technique proficiency had increased. Half an hour later, the refinement of his right arm was complete, and he picked up a knife to test the toughness of his skin. The blade could not pierce his skin, astonishing Lin Zichen, and reminding him of how Liu Chuanwu had withstood Wu Tiancheng's attack. He wondered how tough his body would become after 5 body refinements, and continued meditating. 3 hours later, Lin Zichen looked exhausted, realizing he had finished refining the skin on both arms, but had also depleted 1/3 of his vital energy. Just then, his phone vibrated at 11:50 p.m. It was a message from Shen Qinghan asking if he was asleep yet. She said she had a surprise and urged him to come to her room. Lin Zichen, curious, immediately agreed. He got out of bed, wondering about the late-night surprise gift. When he opened the door, he was surprised to see his mother, Zhang Wanxin, standing in the hallway, asking if he was going to see Han Han. Zhang Wanxin smiled and urged her son to hurry, telling him not to keep Shen Qinghan waiting. Lin Zichen knocked on her door and called out, and a voice from inside invited him in. He opened the door and stepped inside the room. Lin Zichen froze when he saw Shen Qinghan completely covered by a blanket on the bed, looking embarrassed. With a flushed face, she said that this was a surprise she had prepared. Lin Zichen wondered why she was covered by the blanket, then blushed as he imagined her wearing nothing underneath. He tried to dismiss his bold thoughts, while Shen Qinghan urged him to come closer and look. Lin Zichen sat down on the edge of the bed, and she told him to lift the blanket. Both of them blushed as he leaned in closer. He grabbed the edge of the blanket, preparing to pull it off. The blanket was flipped back, revealing Shen Qinghan in a short, sexy white cheongsam. Lin Zichen was completely stunned, his face flushed red and his mouth agape. Shen Qinghan shyly asked if she looked pretty in the dress. With his face still flushed, Lin Zichen stammered that she looked amazing. She bashfully said that she also bought black stockings and asked if he wanted to see them. Lin Zichen, though still embarrassed, quickly agreed, and told her to put them on. Shen Qinghan began pulling the black stockings up her legs under his focused gaze. Soon, her long, slender legs were covered by the black stockings. Lin Zichen swallowed hard at the alluring sight. Shen Qinghan asked again if they looked good, and he confirmed that they suited her perfectly. Embarrassed, Shen Qinghan asked Lin Zichen if he wanted to touch her new stockings because they felt great. Lin Zichen touched her leg, admitting that they were surprisingly soft and comfortable. Shen Qinghan playfully asked him if he preferred the feel of the stockings or her leg. Blushing, Lin Zichen asserted that her leg was definitely better, and she agreed. Suddenly, Xu Meng's voice echoed from outside the door, announcing that Lin Zichen's mother, Zhang Wanxin, had brought some supplies and hung them on the doorknob, startling him. Lin Zichen quickly stood up and walked toward the door, replying that he understood. He took the white cloth bag hanging on the doorknob. Inside the bag, he found a box of ultra-thin condoms and thought to himself, "I knew it." He awkwardly put the box away, thinking that they hadn't even kissed yet, so why the rush? Shen Qinghan suggested that it was late and he should stay the night, but Lin Zichen awkwardly said he had to go put on his diaper and told her not to look. He turned away, while Shen Qinghan behind him started changing into her pajamas. When she was done, Shen Qinghan told him to turn off the light so they could go to sleep, and Lin Zichen agreed. The two lay on the bed, sharing a blanket and facing each other. Lin Zichen broke the silence, asking why her bed smelled so fragrant. Shen Qinghan smiled, explaining that it was her natural body scent, and challenged him to smell it if he didn't believe her. Lin Zichen was skeptical, wondering how that could be possible. The two stared intently at each other in silence, Lin Zichen blushing deeply. Shen Qinghan slowly closed her eyes and slightly parted her lips. Lin Zichen also closed his eyes, responding to her gesture. Finally, the two shared a passionate kiss. Lin Zichen and Shen Qinghan embraced passionately on the bed. In the heated moment, Shen Qinghan blushed, her heart racing. Suddenly, she awkwardly pushed Lin Zichen away and told him to stop. Both sat up, Lin Zichen asking in surprise what had happened. With a flushed face, Shen Qinghan sheepishly confessed that she had involuntarily urinated. She stood up, revealing a wet streak on her white qipao. Lin Zichen immediately asked if her mental state had fluctuated intensely. Shen Qinghan recounted feeling her heart pound, her whole body heating up, and then losing control. She confirmed that her mental state was indeed very intense, causing Lin Zichen to exclaim that everything was just as he suspected. He explained his hypothesis. Her mysterious superpower was linked to mental strength. Lin Zichen added that if her mental strength was great enough, she would be able to fully awaken and control that ability. After a moment of humorous contemplation, the two decided to continue the experiment. They kissed again to test Lin Zichen's hypothesis. He asked her how she felt this time. Shen Qinghan confirmed that the reaction was the same, and Lin Zichen was now certain that her superpower was activated by mental strength. Drenched in sweat, Shen Qinghan decided to take a shower. She asked Lin Zichen to get her a set of pajamas since she had forgotten to bring them. Lin Zichen went to Shen Qinghan's closet to find clothes for her. He opened the closet and saw neatly stacked piles of underwear. He picked up a pair of white panties with a bow, involuntarily blushing, and thinking to himself that they were cute. Blushing, Lin Zichen thought that Shen Qinghan probably wore a diaper to sleep instead of underwear. He decided to grab a light blue set of pajamas for her. The next morning, the two were lying together on the luxurious bed in Shen Qinghan's bedroom. Lin Zichen was awake and quietly watching her. Meanwhile, Shen Qinghan was still sleeping soundly, her mouth slightly open and drooling. He looked at his sleeping friend, who unconsciously brought her finger to her mouth. Lin Zichen gently left the bedroom so as not to wake her. In the living room, he met Shen Qinghan's mother, Xu Meng, and was invited to stay for breakfast. During the meal, Shen Jianye asked if his daughter was awake yet, and Lin Zichen replied that she was still sleeping. Shen Jianye complained about his daughter sleeping in, but Lin Zichen defended her, saying she deserved the rest after ranking first in the province in the exam. After the meal, Lin Zichen said goodbye to Xu Meng to go home. As soon as he left, Xu Meng gave a knowing smile. She told her husband that she had heard the shower running last night, and both assumed their daughter had been with Lin Zichen. Xu Meng was delighted, believing this was a major step forward, and quickly grabbed her phone to share the good news with Lin Zichen's mother, Zhang Wangxin. Lin Zichen returned to his apartment. He decided to wash the dirty clothes from yesterday and started taking off his shirt. Just then, his mother, Zhang Wanxin, suddenly appeared, startling him, and he quickly put his jacket back on. Zhang Wanxin gave him a thumbs up and praised her son for being bold, leaving Lin Zichen completely confused. The scene shifted to the outside of their apartment building. Suddenly, a muscular man leading two subordinates burst in, angrily shouting Liu Chuanwu's name and demanding an explanation regarding Lin Zichen. Liu Chuanwu calmly stated that he didn't understand what he needed to explain regarding Lin Zichen. Dean Ma Zhenhe roared, accusing Liu Chuanwu of shamelessly and secretly poaching Lin Zichen for his martial arts academy. Despite the student having already registered for the evolution department, Liu Chuanwu retorted, asking why only the evolution department was allowed to recruit students while his martial arts academy was not. The two deans fiercely debated the principle of first come, first served, and the unspoken rules between the departments. Liu Chuanwu asserted that his recruitment was completely fair and challenged Ma Zhenhe to go convince Lin Zichen to return himself. Ma Zhenhe angrily challenged Liu Chuanwu to step into the ring to see what true fair competition looked like. Liu Chuanwu scoffed at the idea, suggesting that only a fool would fight Ma Zhenhe. He pointed out the rank disparity, noting that Ma Zhenhe was advanced level rank 5, while he was only ordinary level rank 9, and dismissed his opponent's argument about age. Ma Zhenhe mocked that as long as Liu Chuanwu refused gene fusion, he would forever remain a weakling. Before leaving with his subordinates, Ma Zhenhe cursed Liu Chuanwu, calling him weaker than an ant for stubbornly clinging to the pure blood path. In her office, Yuan Dongji reassured Dean Ma that Lin Zichen would eventually realize his inferiority and return. Ma Zhenhe remained furious, insisting that Liu Chuanwu had broken the rules and must be punished. Yuan Dongji suggested that Ma Zhenhe use Liu Chuanwu's own tactics to lure back the second-ranked student. After a moment of hesitation, Ma Zhenhe decided to follow Yuan Dongji's advice. Once Ma Zhenhe had left, Yuan Dongji quietly took a sip of her drink. She thought to herself that although Ma Zhenhe was usually composed, he always lost his composure whenever he faced Liu Chuanwu. Yuan Dongji remarked that after all these years, Liu Chuanwu's sharp tongue hadn't changed at all. She regretfully thought that if he hadn't chosen the wrong path back then, he would at least be a principal now. The scene shifted to a riverside path, where Lin Zichen was jogging with a girl with pink hair. The girl gasped, stopped, and said she couldn't run any further. Lin Zichen handed water to the pink-haired girl, who was panting from exhaustion. He suggested ending today's training and invited her to rest on a bench to stretch. The girl immediately lay face down on the wooden bench by the road. Lin Zichen sat down and began massaging her legs to help her relax. The girl turned back, blushing, and mumbled her thanks to Zhao Chen. Lin Zichen smiled, saying that given their relationship, thanking him was too formal. Hearing this, the girl shyly asked what their relationship actually was: friends, childhood sweethearts, or girlfriend. Lin Zichen calmly replied that they were family. The girl, confused, asked him what he meant by family. With a hopeful expression, she timidly guessed if it meant fiancé. She burst into joy when she heard him confirm it. Sitting upright on the bench, she happily swung her legs. The girl immediately asked if they could get married after graduating from university. Lin Zichen smiled and agreed to her proposal. The two pinky swore, promising not to change their minds for 100 years. The scene shifted back home, where Lin Zichen was sitting with his parents on the sofa. Hearing the doorbell, Lin Yansheng stood up to open it, calling out, "Coming." He was surprised to see Dean Ma standing at his door. Ma Zhenhe apologized for the intrusion and explained that he had come to talk to Zichen about his university choice. Lin Yansheng looked confused, wondering why they were discussing this so late when his son had already made his decision. Dean Ma Zhenhe presented a gift, saying they were 2 ice crystal fish given to him by a former student. Lin Yansheng invited Ma Zhenhe inside to speak with Lin Zichen. In the living room, Ma Zhenhe revealed that Zichen's gene fusion compatibility was 15%, and asserted that following the pure blood path would only waste his talent. He went on to criticize the Tianren Pavilion's pure blood theory as a trap with no real progress, which would ruin Zichen's future. Ma Zhenhe looked directly at Lin Zichen, advising him not to follow the pure blood path and to return to the evolution department. Zhang Wanxin looked confused, asking why he was saying this when her son had already registered for the evolution department. Lin Zichen interrupted, confessing that there was something he had forgotten to tell his parents. He calmly announced that he had joined the Tianren Pavilion and switched to the Martial Arts Academy to pursue the pure blood path, leaving his parents stunned. Zhang Wanxin frantically asked her son what was going on. Zichen explained that he genuinely agreed with the Tianren Pavilion's philosophy and had agreed to try the pure blood path for half a year because the Martial Arts Academy dean offered triple the benefits. He added that if there was no progress in 6 months, he would return to the evolution department and pursue the path of gene fusion. Ma Zhenhe secretly scoffed, thinking that a penniless old man like the Martial Arts Academy dean offering triple benefits was a joke. With a serious expression, Ma Zhenhe began to advise the young man. He argued that triple benefits were only a minor advantage, not worth sacrificing 6 months of valuable knowledge at Shanghai University. Lin Zichen thanked him for the reminder but stood firm in his decision, saying he needed to try it to avoid regret, while also admitting the benefits were too good to refuse. Ma Zhenhe sighed, seemingly accepting defeat in his attempt to persuade. He stood up, saying that since Zichen was determined, he would not say anything further. Ma Zhenhe excused himself, stating he had other matters to attend to, and Lin Yansheng and his wife quickly stood up to see him out. Night fell outside the apartment building. The next morning, Lin Zichen relaxed at home, drinking water and scrolling through his phone to check the news. Lin Zichen was stunned when he saw an official online announcement falsely accusing him of being brainwashed by the Tianren Pavilion. The article named Lin Zichen directly, calling his decision to pursue the pure blood path a waste of talent. He scrolled through a series of negative comments, realizing this was a deliberate media campaign. Realizing his personal information had been leaked, Lin Zichen feared he would become a target for dangerous cults. He stood up, speculating that the mastermind could be Ma Zhenhe or another hostile force against the Tianren Pavilion. Dismissing the speculation, Lin Zichen decided to take action and called to report the article for violating privacy rights. 2 hours later, he breathed a sigh of relief when the article was finally taken down. However, his phone chimed with a new notification. In the class group chat, everyone was discussing him and the leaked photos enthusiastically. Lin Zichen grew more troubled, realizing the problem didn't stop with just the article. That night, the city was enveloped in silence under the crescent moon. Shen Qinghan suddenly burst into the room, declaring she would sleep over at Lin Zichen's house tonight. She sat on the bed, angry on his behalf, and condemned those who had taken advantage of an innocent student. Shen Qinghan suggested asking her master for help, believing she was powerful enough to resolve this issue. Lin Zichen explained that this was a conflict between factions, and since her master belonged to the Gene Fusion faction, there was no reason for her to help him. Despite his words, Shen Qinghan decided to try anyway, and began texting her master. Just half an hour later, she exclaimed in surprise upon receiving a reply that everything had been resolved. Lin Zichen was also completely stunned, unable to believe what he had just heard. Shen Qinghan happily showed him that searching his name online now yielded no news results. Lin Zichen looked at her, secretly wondering if Shen Qinghan's master helped out of indulgence for her disciple, or because of a past relationship with Liu Chuanwu. Lin Zichen asked Shen Qinghan to convey his thanks to her master, but she playfully asked how he intended to thank her. When Lin Zichen asked what she wanted, Shen Qinghan blushed and requested a kiss. Afterward, Lin Zichen sat in meditation on his bed, a stream of white energy surrounding his body. He slowly exhaled a plume of white smoke, completing a cycle of training. Opening his eyes, a notification appeared, stating that his biological level had increased to ordinary rank 7, after completing the refinement of his entire skin. The status panel confirmed his new level and showed that he had completed 1 skin refinement. Lin Zichen confidently thought that with 9 biological attributes, he could easily defeat the Kyoto University prodigy. Suddenly, his phone on the bed rang with a new notification. He picked up the phone, thinking that Shen Qinghan would soon have to undergo gene fusion and needed to cryopreserve her eggs for later in vitro fertilization. The message was from Shen Qinghan, inviting him to accompany her and Li Chuxin to the hospital next Monday for egg retrieval, and he agreed. On the appointed day, the three of them arrived at a large hospital. Shen Qinghan lay on the hospital bed after completing the first step of the procedure. A female nurse announced that the hyperovulation injection was complete and asked her to return tomorrow for egg retrieval. Leaving the room, Lin Zichen complained about the hassle of having to return, while Shen Qinghan admitted she was still a little nervous. Li Chuxin linked arms with her friend, suggesting they go shopping to help Shen Qinghan relieve stress. When they asked Lin Zichen if he would join them, he declined, saying he had work to do at home. Li Chuxin happily waved goodbye, saying that today would be their own world. Returning to his room, Lin Zichen decided it was time to begin refining his muscles. While meditating, he felt a burning sensation that was stronger than when refining his skin, but still within his tolerance. After an afternoon, he lay exhausted on the bed, dizzy because he had only managed to refine his right arm. Lin Zichen devoured food to replenish his vital energy after the exhausting training session. He was astonished to realize that just by refining his right arm, his strength had increased by 50%. Suddenly, there was a knock at the door. A familiar voice called his name, and Lin Zichen invited the person in. Shen Qinghan entered in her uniform, announcing that she had agreed on his behalf to go out with Li Chuxin and He Yu. She grabbed Lin Zichen's hand and asserted that if he went, she would definitely go too. However, Shen Qinghan looked troubled, explaining that Li Chuxin wanted to go to the beach, and she didn't know how to refuse. Fear was evident on her face, as she recalled the terrifying sounds she had once heard beneath the sea. Lin Zichen gently reassured her that he would be by her side, and they just needed to stay out of the water, which made Shen Qinghan happily agree. Meanwhile, in a deep underground cave, an ancient stone platform glowed amidst a sea of lava. Two mysterious figures, one large and one tall and thin, stood on the stone platform engraved with strange characters. A giant green-skinned monster reported to the envoy that the rats had finished digging the tunnels. The plague doctor-masked envoy ordered the monster to establish a biological coordinate here. After a moment of thought, the envoy raised a bizarre scepter, topped with a red eye. He prepared to perform the ritual, raising the scepter high. With a powerful slam, the scepter plunged into the ground, causing the surface to crack and emit dark red energy. The envoy did not hesitate to slash his own wrist, allowing fresh blood to flow out. His blood was absorbed by the scepter, causing it to emit a fiery red light and streams of dark energy. He explained that the coordinate had been established. They just needed to wait for the origin land on the other side to do the same. Once the coordinates resonate, the tunnels will connect directly to the origin land.